feature. I couldn't do a Czech Republic accent rap with his script. It's not possible for me to replicate that. So it's nice to be able to get a little bit of some spice on it.
Fair enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between. It is currently 3:47 p.m. on the 2nd of November. We are a day out from me turning 26, and we are also within a, let's see, I would say a 9-hour time frame, let alone more or less, of me also getting a session for Kentucky death metal, blackened death metal band, the Human Tragedy out. We have a new one-on-one with Lucas of Stillbirth. That's going to be coming out sometime tonight. I'm going to do my best. And then we have a third session with brand new, quote, true fucking slam band, Gorpulent, featuring Drake Gamble, also from Epidemectomy, Parasitic Embodiment.
357.
357? Oh, shit. Wait, is he?
357. That's the main one. You said Jay Gamble, right?
Drake Gamble. Drake Gamble, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Jake Gamble is the drummer and one of the vocalists for 357. I was like, yeah, I know those. I know the others as well, but they're not close geographically.
Right. Yeah, I was getting caught off guard. I'm like, wait, that would make sense if like they're getting big over there, but I'm pretty sure it's a two-man. All right, so then we got Jake Gamble, which eventually I have to get on the show and ask for the sake of the fucking pun, like, are you related to Drake overseas? But we got a lot of stuff coming out soon, and hopefully as well in reference to Drake Gamble, a good friend of ours over the years. I can make the necessary audio adjustments to the file and, I don't know, make it to where you can hear both sides of the conversation instead of having to disregard a whole 3 to 4 hours worth of podcasting with Ramon and Drake from Epidemectomy, let alone lyrically dissecting their new album Where It Could Be, and then talking about some other bands that are probably going to be breakthrough opportunities for this show if we can make it happen. That being Ramon's Midwest Emo project, or pop punk project, Hometown Weather, and, drumroll, Ramon, it was the last and latest member of the Hopewell Furnace, which is an Appalachian, blackened, or Ignite the Church version of Angel Maker that disbanded back in 2019. Hopefully, through that session, and if I can actually get it uploaded with adjusted audio where you can hear both sides, hopefully that'll be a solid opportunity. Nonetheless, I already mentioned 4 sessions that we have yet to get out, and then there are 2 sessions where we had returning guests, that being Chase Wilson of Elf Sulfur, as they're preparing for their upcoming Eviscerate tour with Ingested, Distant, and Crucifixion, where more or less we alluded to the potential opportunity of hosting other members of Sulfur, and then they already sent me the new album, Endless. So my intention will be to do a front-to-back album listening session as early as possible to prepare that, and then if we can get more members from Sulfur onto the show and tell their stories in a more intimate way, the way that we do here on the Anatomy Crosscast, hopefully then we can have a solid sequel session for Sulfur coming up. The second session, kind of in reference to, no, not kind of, yes, in reference to a returning guest, would be Paul Visser, a Black Orchid Empire, one of the most interesting and outlying bands that I've had on my show, simply because it is more radio-friendly metal from the UK. Hopefully, we can get more of the members from Black Orchid Empire onto the show, as what he was mentioning in session, they are in the final stages of preparing you guys, their fans, a new album. Not only that, but I got my roommate into them, so it provides a little bit more substance, a little bit more hype to me when those that I live with in my real life also enjoy the artists that I've had on the show. And hopefully we can get my buddy involved with that later session as they get closer to unveiling their new record. People, it seems we have a fascination with worms on another note. We originally had Worm Shepherd, which unfortunately our ties with them are no longer on a positive note, So they will not be returning. We almost had Wormfucker, which was a side project of Jack's from Intestinectomy, The Last Dildos of Humanity, and plenty of other underground, either brutal death noise bands or slam bands. We almost had Wormfucker on, but then they ended, and we did Intestinectomy instead for their newest album, Necrophilic Surgeon Fuck Party, and they're already working on a new album. They might also be responsible for our first split session with terminal respiratory something. I forgot the last word, but terminal respiratory, right? That's the important part. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, after a lengthy introduction, but simply mentioning opportunities that have arisen as of recently, opportunities erected, and then of course we have yet to re-upload the rest of our show. Tonight, people, we welcome Mr. Worm of fucking Worm Infested, a slam project based out of the UK. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad. Shout out to Wormfucker as well. He was like one of the first people that reached out to me when I started the project. So
That's great.
it's again, it's wholesome. Like the scene is like so. I don't want to use the term incesty because that's a bad thing, but the scene is so like there's so many things. Like you get introduced to someone and you already knew that person technically. It's lovely.
I love it. I love it. I love to
I don't
hear
know Worm Shepherd though. I'm envious of that.
Yeah, I mean, once upon a time we knew Worm Shepherd, and I would say we got to know them right before they signed to Unique Leader Records, and then they redid In the Wake of Soul, and then they did Ritual Hymns, which truly skyrocketed their reputation. But then because, like, put this into perspective, right? I'm 25, turning 26 tomorrow. This was back in 2022, so I was 22 for most of that year. Former vocalist, Devin Duarte, or Omen, was 21 at the time. And as of that winter, January 2022, well, when Worm Shepherd got to the reputable level, or the level of fame, as being quoted as one of the top 10 albums of the year, according to, I think, Metal Injection back in 2022, well, whether the overwhelming reception, momentum, reputation that they built within maybe a weekend as Ritual Hymns released, truly a blackened deathcore or Ignite the Church version of a Batman movie soundtrack, Tim Burton specifically. The reputation of that, the success of that kind of overwhelmed him. The touring overwhelmed him. And then really other stuff came out that people took out of context, and he was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm kind of done with music anyways. And he went into the dark. Like a phantom, like a ghost, like a true deity. He just disappeared into the wind. And nobody's heard from him since. Probably except for Trey on a more personal note as he checks in on him every now and then. But yeah, Worm Shepherd was definitely one of those legacy bands at the very beginning. It was actually, Devin Duarte was my first live artist for a Lost session in a public spot, not too far away from where I was living at the time. It was an apartment in downtown Mesa, and there was this place, it's now called Olympus Games. It's next door to Azia Records, off of the 60 in Gilbert, but it's now Olympus Games. Once upon a time, which I've mentioned before, because it's still nice, and we want to return to that one day and just have more eyes looking at us, or even have people playing Magic the Gathering every now and then turn around and be like, these guys are here every Friday. What are they doing in there? Who's in there with them? Oh, yeah, this is a show. This is a podcast where this dude interviews bands all around the world. No way. Yeah, he's interviewed bands from Russia, Malaysia, a whole bunch of different places, and he just continues doing it week by week. Wow, really? Yeah. And then more people check us out. I have a feeling that, like, if we were able to continue that, really we only stopped it because of a shitty editor that used to work for that place. That sabotaged then the Devin Duarte of Worm Shepherd session, and then a session with the Stygian Complex, or Kyler Cheek of the Stygian Complex. If those two sessions were not sabotaged, we would still be renting out that venue for at least an hour or two a day. Mind you, it was $20 per hour. So, it would have been at least 40 hours, let alone it could have been $120 per crosscast in reference to our newer 4-hour sessions. But that all aside, of course, not reflecting too much on what we've tried to accomplish and what we have accomplished here on the show. Welcome, sir. Hope you're doing well. It's nice to finally have you on. It's also nice to finally have someone that makes a post on their own accord before we do of saying, hey, I'm jumping on the Crosscast soon. People are like, whoa, no way. And then more bands based out of the UK are reaching out, let alone Mr. Worm here, maybe to reserve anonymity, and that's completely okay, has vocalized that he will be bugging UK local and UK Europe local acts in our place, therefore possibly kickstarting a more like third-party networking, which would be fantastic. So we look forward to the artists in the UK or Europe that then reach out to us because of Mr. Worm, as he, he's like, he got a little bait going on or some shit. But, yeah, you said you're doing well, sir?
Yeah, all good. I don't hide like the name as anonymity. That I didn't pick the name Mr. Worm. That was just something that you get like 3-4 months down the line, and people just started saying that. I can't remember where it came from the first time. People kept saying it, and then I did it I did some guest vocals, and I went Mr. Worm, and it was funny, and it got kept. I'm always putting funny things in guest features, like seeing if I can slide some rap in there. It gets taken out all the time.
I see.
But I sent that, and I dug my own grave with that one.
Fair enough. Well, Mr. Worm, if you do not mind, then go ahead and disclose your federal name, sir. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more familiar with you.
The government name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ethan Bonds.
Ethan Bond. That's fucking cool. You might as well be related to James Bond then. There's just an S at the end instead.
Yeah. See, like, I was literally just thinking 2 minutes ago, you're the first person that hasn't made that joke. But that's because you didn't say my name. I literally hear that all the time. And they might be like, oh, Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible. and I'm there just like,
yeah.
no.
Well, here's
That's all good. It's funny.
Here's a better thing then. I mentioned this to Ethan before we even started, but I'm not sure if I'm the only person who thinks this. This guy looks like fucking a clone of Jason Evans or something, a younger clone. Like, apparently we need to do cloning in the slam death metal world because Jason Evans is kind of retired from music. I'm not sure if I'm the only one or if I'm the first person to say it, but, basically this dude looks like Jason Evans but with, like, pretty colored hair. And, like, I don't know. He's... But as we get started my goodness, I almost ripped my mic off the desk. Sorry for the ear rape that might happen to our dear audience. It's just like
that word
might as well be a sample or a breakdown right there. But welcome, sir, to the show. Thank you for jumping on, especially straight after work. What time is it over there for you right now?
It is now exactly 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Fuck. Okay. We're going to keep that in mind because I have a feeling that you have work tomorrow, sir. I don't. But I got a cold one to kind of be like, cheers.
No work tomorrow.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Good shit.
No, yeah, Resident Evil 2 and some guest vocals.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
That's my plans tomorrow.
So, Mr. Ethan, go ahead and give us a good old elementary, friendly introduction to who you are, maybe without doxing yourself too much, the city and country you were born in, and we'll go from there.
Okay. It's obviously my government name, Ethan Scott Bonds. I'm 31. I was born in Brighton, but I now live in a little town, Peacehaven. Which is about 8 miles outside.
Huh.
Right.
Interesting. Does it have more of the big town or small town vibes? You more or less you just mentioned small town. What a fucking stupid question to
ask. Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those towns that we refer to as God's waiting room.
Meaning there's a lot of old people
which is yeah, no hate, of course. It's the term people use. It's nice.
Okay.
It's really nice, as the name suggests. So there's a increasing problem with like the youths that are around here, but that's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
We just have terrible youths in a pretty village.
I
We
see.
still have ugly people.
Fair enough. Ugly people on the inside. Love to see it. Love to hear it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yes, of course. Everyone's beautiful outside, of course.
Nice and gloomy over there too
Safe.
this time of year.
Yeah. Most times of the year.
Love to hear it. I need to make a trip to Peace Haven then one day. We gotta manifest that shit now. But I've been meaning to make a trip to the UK in general. So I mean, maybe Peace Haven will be like the one little small town that I go to, and then I'll dot over to Glasgow or some shit. Say hi to the boys in Party Cannon. Shout out to Party Cannon. Shout out to Party Cannon. Love those guys. We've had them on the show twice
Yeah.
now.
See again, coincidence. The video I sent you was the party cannon snapback.
That's funny. That's fucking. You know what?
Another like this.
Love it. It's great. So, pardon me. After then your more elementary introduction, and you know what? I forgot to throw in then the fun fact part into there. Go ahead and tell us a fun fact about yourself that maybe has nothing to do with music and what you do musically.
I hate insects.
Fair enough. A lot of people do. Alrighty, sir. So we got Mr. Ethan.
It's a fun theme and it's a fun brand, but they're disgusting. They're creepy. They're crawly.
So I can.
We don't kill them. We gently remove them. But yeah.
Yo, as long as you take the time and effort and patience to peacefully remove said creature, and you're not one of those psychopaths that's just like, ha ha ha, you're smaller than me, and that shit, like, I hate that shit. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is just like the inferiority complex that comes with people who just squash bugs for fun or because they can. I'm like, well, one day I hope you get wiped out by any and all extraterrestrial invaders, but that's besides the point. So, as we get a little bit deeper, balls deep, into this crosscast with Mr. Worm, Mr. Ethan here, go ahead and take about 10 to 20 minutes, or take as much time as you need. Go ahead and introduce us to your roadmap as a musician so far. Let's get familiar with where music really started for you. Let's get familiar with the artists that are vital to your DNA as a musician, and maybe some parts along the path, some points in time where maybe you had something else in mind. Maybe let's talk about a job or career that helps you provide financial backbone to what you do as a musician, or, you know, in the same context, right? Something outside of music, just a hobby that you were investing to at one time and either maybe you abandoned along the path as you got more serious about music, or maybe it's something that's still relevant to you. Take it away, sir.
That's a lot to remember to answer. So I guess up until the age of like 14, I never had a passion for something. Like I enjoyed things. Like if someone played a song, it was fine. But because of where I grew up, everyone was playing like the chart music and stuff. So it was kind of two or three genres, nothing that there deviates from that. And everyone was like passionate about football and the music they were listening to, and they had like a certain way of life that they seemed quite content with. And I was just sat there at 14 being like, is this it? Am I supposed to like pretend that I like this stuff? And I had this, the way that my childhood was structured was Monday to Friday with my dad. So I go to school on Friday from my dad's, and then from after finishing go to my mum's. And every Friday was pretty routine. I'd get there before them and just chill out. And one time my stepdad was like home before me, which had never happened in, I think, like I don't know, 3 or so years that he'd been in the picture. And he was home and he was watching Metallica perform at Rock AM Rig in 2008, and I'd literally walked in through the front door, the same as every other thing. I thought I was going to have the telly all to myself. I was just going to get a carton of milk, box of Weetabix, and a bowl, and just go through it, as I did every Friday, because the parents aren't there. I'll eat what I want, and Weetabix is the best. I get in, my first thought is, fucking hell, I can't do this once in my life. How do I cope? I open the door, and my stepdad is just sat there watching Metallica play, and I just walked in, and I had my work bag on, and I walked in, and I was just sat there for like 15 minutes, just watching, just holding the bag, and I was just like, oh, that's so good. I could do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And I think I was like a month or two away from my 15th birthday. Yeah, 15th birthday, 2008. Yeah, so 2008. I don't know. It works out that I was not far off of a birthday, and I said to my mum, that's what I want for my birthday is a guitar, or something to that effect, some help towards getting one, because I think I had a paper round at the time, but I'd need about 50 to get even a basic guitar. I got a blue Squire Strat, which I still have, obviously, and I got that, and that was just game changer. That was game changer. I felt the same way about that guitar as the chavs did, passionate, playing like FIFA and being like, oh yeah, we played really good last night. And it's like, who's we? You're not in the team. You work at McDonald's. Shut the fuck up. So I just was just passionate. I loved, like, I was crap. I think that, like, I know there's a learning curve, but I'm pretty sure that this was not a natural learning curve. Like, it was garbage for about a year. And somehow having guitar lessons made me worse, because I was so anxious that the guitar player that was sat opposite him was not even 50% of the guitar player that was sat in his room with no one watching. And I've kind of got myself demotivated from that. So I just picked a different crowd at school. I fell in with like the guys that liked music. And I just like made like school bands and stuff, made like punk. There wasn't really any like metal in my school. I think that the heaviest like school band, if you will, was like pop punk. They were really good. I didn't really do much with the bands that I was in. I don't know. I guess it was more. I guess most of the people in it just wanted to be in a band and say they were in a band and get anything or nothing that might come from being able to say that. And when I left school, I was quite annoyed about the fact that I felt like I'd lost a year, not with time wasters per se, because amazing friends, but I could have done a lot more with that year had I had, instead of the other 6, if I'd had maybe 2 people that had the same sort of mindset that I was in at that specific time. I could have done more with those 2 people than those 6. I might not have been able to get through certain elements of school without them, because I had a lot of anxieties. It was nice having different personalities, etc. I left school, studied music at college, which is just the biggest waste of time ever. Just buy a guitar and just sit in your room and watch YouTube and just play and play and play and study something like law, so that when and if you fail as a musician or realize you can't make money for it, you get a proper job. That's a joke. I'm playing with my food. I was going to eat earlier, but I was like, I can't really face it on camera. When I was at college, I didn't really make a band or anything like that. I just sort of studied and still tried to be good at guitar, because at age 16 I was still crap. The first year I did was studying live performance, and the second year was like music tech, like recording and stuff. In the second year I made a band, but with people that I'd met in my first year, and that was what I consider my first proper band. And it was literally just 3 other guys, and they were all really like decent musicians. It was in like the 2010 era, so we were all copy-paste versions of each other. Every band looked and sounded like Asking Alexandria.
Yeah.
Who are one of the best bands of all time. People can say whatever. That they ruled that time period. Um, uh, we made like metalcore, but with the necessary auto-tune, clean vocals, the synthesizer parts, and they were all so like chill to the approach. And we made like one track, which took like 2 months to make because I would just go to recording sessions, and I'd be the only person that turns up. It ended up being that I was literally just the bassist. I don't know how I ended up as the bassist. I've never played it before. And this is where I'm taking my food away. But we got to recording one time and no one else turned up. And I was like, oh, is this going to be a regular thing? It wasn't, but it took like 2 months to make a track. And our vocalist just sent that track to like, I swear, every person on Facebook. And some label that were not unique leader or anything to that extent, but maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is massive. 1 is some 14-year-old kid that isn't actually a label. He's just got an Insta page. They were probably at like at a time, maybe like 6 or a 7. The guy had a sweet spot for like that. I don't want to say bad metalcore, but like you listen to it now and you're like, was that really a vibe? And he signed us and literally skyrocketed. The Facebook page within like a month was on like 8,000. It was, yeah, we did the gig with Bring Me.
Really?
But most of the gigs we did were with local bands. Like we do have obviously Brighton. We have Architects is probably our biggest one.
Wow.
But we have a lot of like B tier like fame bands. Like there's a band called Fathoms that are from Brighton and New Haven. Brighton's that way. New Haven's that way. They were pretty big at the time. The person that recorded all their stuff was Tom from A Day to Remember, the guitarist. So they had like good connections and stuff. Like, every time you looked on their Facebook, they were in America. Like probably like throwing TVs out, fucking hotel windows and all that shit. And then it got to a point where we'd kicked out the guy that formed the band. Like it was the guitarist and the singer, and then everyone else joined, and I was the last to join. But the guy that initially started it just stopped turning up to stuff because he got a girlfriend. So they kicked him out, which made his all-time best friend, that was the other guitarist, a little bit like fancy. But he was happy because he was in a band that were doing fairly well. And I think that was probably, at that time, I think that was the only good thing that we all had going for each other. And then he got a girlfriend, and then literally same thing happened, and she convinced him to leave the band. And because everyone else was so like, oh, it's chill, man, it's fine, we'll just do whatever. This one guy was writing all the material, and basically, yeah, when he left, and took the material and weren't able to play anymore. I think the set list was like 12 tracks. The set list was about 12 tracks, and like 6 of them were covers, and that never sat right with me. I don't think it sat right with him because they were weird covers. Like there was a Two Asking Alexandria, Of Mice and Men, A Day to Remember. There were really weird covers. There was a lot of issues within the band that you might not see from an outside perspective. And then that guy left, and it basically just buggered the whole thing. Like everyone just gave up, even though you could have just written new music or just taken a hiatus, come back under a new name or something. Around that time, I was also playing bass for a local band called The Promise, which I was very lucky to get because at the time I thought they were the best local band. Like to this day, I think the best vocalist that I've ever met in person that isn't like famous.
No.
Is
Wait, is there another package in?
A guy called Greg Null. I don't really want to dox him online, but he's one of the best vocalists I've ever worked with.
What the okay. Hold on, friend. I gotta figure some shit out. I'll be right back.
Howdy doody.
Man, oh man. It seems that someone... I don't even know how else to describe it except most likely someone has like permanently hacked my mobile device that's not even on right now. And I think somehow they hacked into and accessed the payment methods for my roommates and put through a purchase that now has them at negative $87 in their bank account, where I didn't even
Jeez.
I didn't even make the purchase, but now we gotta figure that out. So
I hope you get that sorted, man.
yeah, definitely gotta. That's the crazy thing is my phone's been dead since this morning, like no charging cable or nothing. Um, but the only thing I can think to do is check my bank account and see if this actually went through and happened, because the nature, it's weird, the nature of the purchase that went through today was for a purchase that was alternatively made like a week and a half ago or so, and some of the items changed, but that's about it. And then it was purchased through another uh, application on my mobile device that also helps me like save money somehow. So yeah, most likely someone hacked my stuff. But yeah, all things considered, I'll probably just end up cutting that out. But let's go ahead and continue with your story, sir.
Yeah. So when the first band disbanded, there was like a 2-month crossover where I was maybe it was longer than that. It was like a long time ago. When the first band disbanded, there'd been a period of like a few months where I'd been the bassist for both bands. It's quite funny looking back on it because the scene was quite small. There's only like 10 local bands, so there was plenty of times where I would, for what it's worth, which was the band I was in first, would always headline if they played, and I promise 50-50 on whether they'd headline. But there's so many gigs where there'd be like 3-4 bands at max, and I was in 2 of them, and I very much enjoyed that. That was really nice because that was like at this point that was like 5 years of like time wasters to get to this point, and it's like twice the reward. And then ultimately there was like internal issues with like differing personalities, should we say. I was on holiday I think in Scotland with my family, and I came back, and like some guy that I'd known from school that had become a Promise fan told me that Promise had broke up. And I was like, okay, so I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one, how the fuck did you find out before me? And the second one, how the fuck are you like my 6th best friend? You didn't know I was in a Promise. You've seen them play since I've been in the band. Anyway, I was pretty pissed. Not the fact he didn't know. I don't care about that. But that I'd basically been bandless for like 6 days, living the life of Riley in like Scotland, camping with my parents and my nans. And then I don't think I did any music after that. I always had the passion. I did make my own music with a recurring friend. We would like talk, and then he would distance and then come back. So we made like 4 different projects that never had names. Have like 15 unfinished tracks between the 2 of us. And we got back in contact when I was like 26, 27. And I was like, yeah, this is it. We're going to make a band. This is going to be it. We're going to do something. And then that didn't happen. And at this point, I've become a parent. So the time to make music, there's always time to make music. There's always time. But with everything, I didn't really know that. So I just sort of took a break from music. I never said to myself I was going to take a break. It just ended up being a break. I think for like 7-8 years now, or 7-8 years, I was smashing alcohol like it was the prohibition, like the next day. I got arrested I was really drunk, being an idiot. I'm not going to go into details, but I got arrested from that, and I was so close to going away. And I was like, no, I've got Mrs. Worm now. I should be grateful for the fact that I've got my son. My mum is just absolutely the best like human being you could ask for. Obviously, Mrs. Worm is as well, but I'm biased. You have to shout the parents out. And I literally just quit drinking like basically the next day of the court, and I just stopped. I made Worm Infested like shortly that week after, like not long after the court thing had been settled. I got back in contact with that friend, and we actually like made a go of it. Started writing an EP between the two of us, and then he did the usual like just sort of ghosting. Not ghosting. I don't. That's rude. I don't want to be derogatory towards him because he's not here. But he just drifted. Just ended up drifting, and then made an excuse as to leave that I felt was not sincere, but whatever he wants. He's an amazing person, one of the best I've met. So whatever's good for you. Ended on good terms. The EP was pretty much finished. We'd agreed that it was fine to use the material. There was no issues, no bad blood. As far as I'm aware, there isn't. It was just me and him. We didn't have a drummer. We was using a drum machine, and I just basically just carried on with Worm Infested. I don't think it really had the name while there was two people. It more became a real thing, not when the account was made, but maybe like a week after the account was made because the page was up. But there's like 2 or 3 posts before we even put any of our music up, and then it became an actual thing. And I got talking to a few people, and then they introduced me to a few people, and then the scene just said, "Welcome. Keep your allegations away. Welcome." I don't have any, obviously, but it's riddled with them at the moment. And yeah, I mean, short of the obvious ones, being a parent, the drinking thing was really hard. So having Mrs. Worm, shout out, she's about here, about a foot away there, and she is perfect and she's beautiful. So is she. Oh, no, she doesn't want. Yeah, making Worm Infested was just the best thing I ever did. It's a shame because I always say that alcohol took 8 years from me, but I don't think it did. I think I just gave up 8 years. It just goes like that. Once you hit like 22, like the years just poof. You'll find that out in about 2 years. You're going to get out of bed one day and you're going to go, ooh, and it started. It started.
Yeah.
Then touch your toes when you're 28 and don't go. Yeah, and here we are now, thanks to social media, which I do kind of hate, which is why Worm Infested only has Instagram, because I feel like that's the only mandatory one. No one uses Facebook, and TikTok is a kids app, so while Worm Infested isn't overly offensive, I don't think the content belongs on TikTok. Myself. That's not the correct opinion, but it's just mine.
Opinion is.
But thanks to social media, on the other side, my phone needs charging. On the other side of that, it has enabled me to like work. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
With people that I've admired for whatever reason. What have I done? I've zoomed in. Apologies, man. I'm trying to.
No, you're good. You're good.
Am I?
Oh, that's better.
Is it all good? Am I sideways or is it?
No, you're not sideways. This is actually perfect. This works a lot better than the other POV.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I didn't switch to it sooner.
You're good.
Basically, there's Frog Mallet was like Metallica was like obviously what got me into music, but when I was on community service, I was listening to like the slam bands that I knew. I consider Annotation not slam, but anyone says. I was listening to them mostly, but if you listen to them, the algorithm will suggest you the randomest shit. They just suggested me Frog Mallet, and I was like, oh my god, this is stupid, this is heavy, this is unique. I got to do something like this. So there's got to be like a good sense of humor behind it. Maybe we can write an offensive song, but as long as it's maybe done in good taste. I fucked that up, by the way. But as long as, I had an idea and I was like, okay, I want to do something like that. I'm sat here surrounded by people that, in my opinion, are not going to learn anything while they're here, and they're going to be straight back here. I don't ever want to come back here. I want to play download. Okay, maybe not. That's not going to happen. But I want to be more than what I currently am. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use this when I get off this shit. I'm gonna go full force. And then thanks to like obviously Instagram, I was able to do a collaboration with Frog Mallet, and obviously I'm very happy and lucky to have done collabs with anyone, that anyone would be like, yeah, I'll do something with your music. But some of the names on there, while some people might not consider them big, have done far more for me than a lot of family, friends, other bands. Shout out Crime Slug. That guy's actually picked me up and like fucking catapulted me when I've been like here. He's just been like, nope, get out, bitch.
Yeah. No, that's important, man. That's important.
And yeah, and then I went on the Anatomy Crosscast, and then the next day I was world famous.
Stop.
No.
No, it's beautiful. I love to hear that shit because honestly, when I can easily tell you when I first got into the scene, one thing that I really wanted to chase after was authenticity and consistency. And when you actually are able to connect with so many musicians, whether on the lower tiers of the deeper, true counterculture world, or you start climbing up the ranks. For example, the way that this show started was with some pretty big fucking bands, dude. Really big bands. Bands that didn't exactly catapult us because I was shitty at promotion and I didn't think the show would go anywhere at the time. But nonetheless, you appreciate those opportunities. You continue stacking the opportunities. And in any way that you can, any means that you can, if you're truly passionate about what you do, you continue the snowball. You continue to allow the avalanche to build up until, from afar, it looks like something that's just smoke. But the moment you're involved in that avalanche, well, you can get buried in ice. And once you're buried in that ice, you can be frozen solid. You could die. But like, the Anatomy Crosscast isn't a deadly show. So not probably the best analogy in the world, but yeah, dude, I appreciate every opportunity that this show has had, and I mean, bands like Frog Mallet, we still have yet to get them on. Demon Fuck, that would be our first like explicit band that we'd ever get on. We've had
Did you say Demon Fuck?
Demon Fuck, yeah.
Demon Fuck. I don't know if that's a really bad name or one of the best band names I've ever heard. I don't know. Is it all one word?
Mm-hmm. It's all one word.
Oh, perfect. That's a fucking good band name.
See, there's Scumfuck, which is the like more traders friendly side project of Dickie Allen, and then Demon Fuck, I would say.
Scumfuck, which is Hollow Prophet and Scum something, isn't it?
Well, Scum Prophet.
Or maybe there's a song called Scumfuck. So Scum Prophet, that's the one. That's the one.
But yeah, Scumfuck, that's one that we'd love to get on because maybe that would help us climb up the ladder and then get associated with Scarlet Rot or Infant Annihilator or Necrogoblicon because he has all those bands now. But Demon Fuck, I would say, is like just one of those really, really dirty bands that might as well be a slam band, but it's not. And the vocalist has a very Adam Mercer formerly of Awakened Providence, now of Deathstroke and the other band he's doing. The vocal spectrum for Demon Fuck is very Adam Mercer friendly. It almost sounds exactly the same, but that's what I like about it. And I'm like, well, hopefully this new vocalist announcement they have coming up soon is for the guy from Demon Fuck, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. And Demon Fuck has been kind of like...
I can tell you right now, just so you know, it's not me.
He's like, I'm
It's
across the
not
sea.
me. Just so you know, I know you. It's not me.
I'll keep that in mind. At least we have that confirmed now in the Anatomy Crosscast. Um, but yeah, there are so many bands, dude, that like I haven't even hosted on the show, but I made art for, I did like reactive content for, and then they just ghosted me for whatever reason, or bands that I've already had on the show that ghosted me because of political stuff, and I'm like, I get it, but also fluidity, pardon me, politics, I think, is the one cultural fluidity that doesn't have any like toxic repercussions to it. And what I mean by that is you can associate yourself with either side of the aisle, but at the end of the day, it doesn't actually mean that much because at least with the US voting system, our votes don't even really matter. It's more or less just, I would like for this person to be in that position, and then most likely their vote is disregarded anyway. So it's like, when I've had bands that have just ghosted me because of my politics, or they're like, this guy's a fucking bigot or whatever, I'm like, well, isn't it rather bigoted to like isolate yourself and separate yourself from certain people based off of an irrelevant category of philosophy? Like, it can be relevant, sure, but for the most part it isn't, because now, in 2025, we all understand one thing, and it's that the people in charge don't have our best interest in mind, and it doesn't matter what country you're in either. So it's like, why does it matter? Why does it actually matter? Wouldn't it be a little bit more counterculture to like not really worry about that shit and just talk with someone because they want to talk with you about your music? I'm not hosting you because I want to hear your political take. I want to host you because I want to see your music grow. Like, if I can be responsible indirectly or directly for your growth, of course I would love to be a part of that and shadow your work. And that's really been one of the other niche purposes of this show, is to be there at the tail beginning of certain bands' legacies, but that's besides the point. So yeah, you've been in a lot of
Oh yeah.
bands. You have a lot of history. You have a lot of experience being involved in music. And sure, maybe it started later in life, but I mean, you started out with the band that was aspiring to be similar to Asking Alexandria, which really, even with their newest album, is like one of my favorite bands of all time. I don't care what anybody has to say, because the We Are Harlots era of Danny Worsnop allowed him to like add a little bit more flirty and raspy singing styles to the band that
He
was
he came
Asking.
he came back sexier, didn't he? Like
He did.
the he learned like some not like not like sex appeal, because I don't when I think of him, I don't think of any stage I think of that. But he came back with a certain like I very much enjoyed the Dennis era of Asking Alexandria, but I'm glad that we didn't get too much of it. If that had been the constant, I would be so pissed.
Honestly, it's just different. It's different with those types of bands, and the only thing that kind of irks me is that they wrote their newest album. Where do we go from here? They wrote a whole bunch of heavy shit for that, but then they have the heavy shit as backtracks live. I'm like, listen, I know you're a big band. I know you still want to cater to some of your heavier preferred audiences, people who like your original shit. But if there's one rule, like, for example, if I was on the level of Asking Alexandria, with a band, with consistent musicians, with a touring act, let alone, that can go around the world whenever they want to, with permission and getting visas set up and all that. If I was in a similar tier of the music world to Asking Alexandria in the writing process and creative process of the music, one
I
rule I
saw
would,
that one.
it's so good. One rule that I would have for myself is don't write or produce or put out anything that you can't do live. Simple as that. It's too much. It would be strenuous on the musicians to do something in studio you can't do live. And hell, like going back to Dickie Allen and Infinite Annihilator, that's the reason they haven't done a live show yet. But they plan to release a 20-track album next. So it's like, what are they planning? What concept is going to be so good? What idea is going to be so good for Infinite Annihilator that they do 20 tracks? Or they possibly look into touring and live performance. Like, that takes a lot, even for an internet band like Infinite
I
Annihilator.
could
So
never do that. I could never commit to one sound for that. I like EPs because you can just switch up the genre. You can just try something. If people don't like it, that's fine. Sorry, you don't like four of my songs. I'm sorry. 20 more up there that hopefully you'll like.
right.
You can just add like a little bit of flavor. Like, can you imagine if like if I'd made an album right now and it was all the style of the debut EP, people would fucking hate the Worm City because it would be such a detraction from what you know. You got 20 Worm Infested tracks, you know exactly what you expect, and then you get that hip hop shit at the beginning of Worm City. You'd be like, oh fuck, I got Bring Me. You just sort of, the EP lubes up the fan base for the flavors that you're going to throw in next. I like that.
True.
I like that.
No.
And now I know. And now I know what I think. What I think I know. What, based on like what people are saying, commenting, and at the layout, like how the Spotify stuff is displayed now. I think I have an idea of what people want. If I was to do a full length, I think I know. Sorry, that was getting sidestepped.
No, you're good. You're good. That's good. And it's nice then to hear commentary and hear your response, that you've been like looking into the comments and the perspective, the reflection of the fans of Worm Infested so far, because that just means you're engaged.
Yeah, I live on Instagram. I live on that. I will reply to everything. I love it. It's good. I don't like social media, and it's time absorbing and it's draining. But there's some amazing people. Like, I've got a group chat. There's maybe, I don't know, maybe nearly 100 people, but they're all, I'll talk to all of them regularly. They're all amazing people.
Good shit.
It's so good. So it's really nice that you can get a community just online. And we haven't done a gig yet. So to even have anyone listen and not be like pissed,
Or
it's a blessing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And sometimes really it just starts out with an internet project. We've hosted plenty of musicians on this show that are either here in the US, over in the UK, or even over in Indonesia. And they went from,
I'm just gonna put Nugget back quickly. She's yeah, oh, thank you. You put her back for me. Thank you very much. I trade you for a joint. Thank you. Yeah, hello. Ratty Cadabra. Bob. If I pass it back, do you think you could change it for a cat? No. Sorry, yeah. Carry on. Apologies.
You're good. You're good. It's sometimes it just starts out with an internet project. After so many years of trying to be patient and trying to wait for other people to get involved or be as mutually interested as yourself in what you're writing, sometimes it's just better to do things on your own and then see if people might be interested.
Yeah, I've never used that term, internet project. I don't want to be that. If anyone is to scroll through their Insta, go do a little creep or look on the Metal archives, which need to be fucking updated. They'll see that at one point Worm Infested did have a full lineup. It was a fleeting moment, but there is a couple of posts, a couple of videos, and an interview where there is a lineup. I tried. I did try. You know, I'm not gonna obviously I'm not gonna speak ill of anyone, but I know that I tried. I got a full lineup. The length I had, the lengths to get a full lineup in Brighton. I found a fucking drummer. There's two things for certain in the metal industry. Oh, three, sorry, allegations. Oh fuck, I've forgotten. Anyway, one of them is that, oh yeah, no one's got a PNG of their logo. No one's got a clear fucking thing of their logo. And two, every drummer is in like 8 projects.
Oh my god.
And the less projects they're in, the shitter they are. It's so legit. I found one that was in loads of projects, and he got sent the EP, and this guy fucking was like all over it. He was like, yes, I will fuck the other projects off and come in. I was like, oh, shit, okay. So 2 more like this guy, and we ready. I got in like the best people, like the bestest people.
Well, then what happened? Like, of course, without doxing any of them or saying too much, like, what the fuck happened to that full lineup, dude?
So, see, the issue is, obviously, if I give too much details, because stuff's on the archives, they're still on the Metal archives. If I give too much detail, someone can just look on there and know the name of the person I'm talking about, the town they live in, their data. Do you know what I mean? So it feels like no matter how I explain, it's going to feel snaky. And one of those guys I met at college, and that guy was like an older brother to me. That's fine at college. Everyone there is fucking weird in their own way. They chose to study music, for fuck's sake. But like, I'm one of, if you count step siblings, I'm like one of 7. Yeah, 7. But I'm not really close with any of my siblings, bar my little sister, who I live with most of the time. So the brother figure was never really fulfilled. So I love this guy. Evidently not enough to keep in contact from college to like age 30. But like that's my fault, and fault on both sides. Life gets in the way. Got back in contact with him. Just he come up on like every now and again I got a notification from Facebook, which I don't use, and it come up saying like it popped up, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, he looks exactly the same. Jesus Christ. Clicked, sent the message. Hanging out the next day. The same lovable asshole that he always was. Like me, hadn't really changed much from college. But life had fucking given you a good kick in the nuts constantly for that time gap. So us like getting together, and it was just perfect for both of us. It was a mutually beneficial thing. Sounds like we were fucking. Anyway, I asked him to be my bassist. He came here, he brought his bass, had a few beers. I didn't, obviously don't drink, but he did. More than a few, which ticks me off a little bit, but I don't judge. It was just a bit early. I didn't really think anything of it because that's the last thing I'm going to judge for. So, but he was a decent enough bass player. Like he was always like good at bass at college. Although when I think of his musical talents, he has this really weird scream that he does, which sounds like a pterodactyl. But to this day, I didn't even listen to that fucking slam shit in college. Like my peak was Chelsea Grin.
I see.
Debut artwork here, by the way. He had the best fucking vocals ever. So I was like, shit. Even if he was a shit bassist, I can still get that scream. I can still get that. And I've got one of the most unique bands in the world because I've not heard that before. And I listen to some fucked up shit. The artwork that is on some of the stuff that comes up on my For You, I hope that like the FBI, whatever the English equivalent is, they don't look at my Spotify playlist because it doesn't look good. But he basically introduced me to, he got me a guitarist, he got me the drummer. Well, he told me about the drummer, and then the music persuaded him a little bit, and I spoke to him a little bit, and we got him on board. Full lineup, perfect. Slight issue, which is the EP was very clearly written by 2 people that were very deathcore influenced, the debut one. So it had lots of parts where there was a rhythm guitar and a lead part. So we had a full lineup practically, and we could play through the songs. But certain songs, like Writhing Leeches, which is like 3.5 minutes long, there's about probably like 50-something seconds of that track where there's 2 guitars doing 2 different things. But it's not going to sound as good. And if you're at rehearsal and you play that end breakdown, Writhing Leeches, and just that last minute, you play that with just one guitarist, sounds wank. Sounds absolutely garbage. So it's like, oh, no shade to anyone, but that track everyone says is eerie brutality. If you take out the lead part, it is not eerie brutality. It's just a heavy track. If you only do the lead part, it sounds like some guy's trying to like spaff while write a guitar solo over a genre he's never heard. It just sounded really bad. So we was like, okay, we'll dabble with the idea of getting another guitarist, but smash rehearsals and get gig ready. And we're 5 months down the line. No full song can be played yet. But at this point, Crime Slug, I know, controversial figure, I know. Here come the hate mail. I'd been chatting with him, and he'd been giving me like really good pointers because I understood the scene perfectly. I got the first band. I think the Facebook page got to like maybe like 80K or something on Facebook. Like it was fucking a lot. And that was just from me spamming. We paid for Facebook ads. Like each week we put in like 25 quid each. Or it was something like we did like the full value one week, and then the next person full value. It was whatever we did. Beg, borrow, steal. Shit, that's what I was saying now. Anyway, we're 5 months down the line. Not a single track can be played. but we've been introduced to guitarists, friends of my friend from college, because the one thing you can say about this guy is everyone knows him. You say his name in the scene, they're like, oh, I know him. I love that guy. And they'll tell you a hilarious story. And you're like, yeah, that fucking sounds like him. Yeah, 100%. True to form, hasn't changed. Knew where that story was going because amazing. One of the best personalities ever, but like fucking, I don't know, shit. Um, we get to a point where it's been quite a while since music has been released. So I started writing, working and recording a second EP in the hopes that we could use the tracks I'm writing. I would prefer to write as a group, or to use the tracks I'm making as a group, and it'll sound better, but it will be more productive, get everyone involved. It's one thing joining a band and learning their songs. It's another thing being able to go, okay, I like this band. Fuck me, now I get to write a riff. Now I get to write this on it. I had this idea. Like one of the guys in it was literally his two loves were football. That's it. Oh, sometimes like some metal, but the heaviest he listened to was Avenged Sevenfold. And he was an alright guitar player, but he wanted to dabble with like football hooligan type shit. And I'd have been down for that. I don't know what I'd do with that. That would have been a cool take. But for the sake of being gig ready, bear in mind that the debut EP is not enough for a set. You need to learn the pre-existing material. And because it had been like 4 or 5 months at this point where the material hadn't been learned, like maybe like half of each song was learned for each rehearsal was the same. I will say one person in the band knew the tracks 100%. 5% struggled to play. No, 10% struggled to play. 5% gets a pass because fake drums. So there's a very hard bit to play like precisely, and it was a little bit out of what he was playing for a while. He was in a certain band. Next band was very different. This one was more like the old stuff, so he had to like get back into it. It gets to the point where I'm like, okay, now it's like a month down the line. I've basically got the EP finished, Worm City's finished. In the time it's taken for them to learn 5 songs, I've written another 5. I've got another 5 done. I've arranged all the guest vocalists. I paid for all of this myself. It's so fucking expensive to make like albums and then make the physical versions. I was just, the lead guitarist that had joined, the friend that had come in, ended up knowing all the tracks before them and was like helping me teach. We get about another month down the line, and we're trying not to be snaky, but the talk of just maybe swapping out or getting rid of someone might be possible. We get down the line, I kick one person out, little bit of a rift, and just me. Basically, long story short, I think there might be bad blood with one of them. In fact, I know there is, but I have not heard anything for a good few months. They have no social media presence. Not as in they know nobody, as in they maybe will have one account on one platform and it'll be a troll name and they'll just post it. But I have no ill feelings towards them, and I'm hard pressed to know why there's bad blood between us. I know the reason that was given, but I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
The reason is stupid. Like an opinion is an opinion, but that's like the one thing that you could accuse. It's just so stupid. It's not something bad like allegations. It's just like he just said he didn't like the way that I handled the kicking out.
I see.
When it works out like 27 hours prior, he told me how to do it. I quoted him. I didn't like that. That felt a little bit tell one person's story.
Yeah.
Did you tell me that? But anyway, and then like, okay, I felt bad because I dropped City while they were still in the bands. Like I think Worm City dropped the day after I kicked one of them, and then I felt kind of bad about that. Maybe that added to the rift. And then just from basic people that they're not on any recorded material. So going from a 4-piece to a 5-piece to a 1-piece didn't have any effects on the music. Although you'd think it would, because you would think that the first EP, if you didn't read the titles, you'd think the first EP was written by the 5 lineup. And then it got a bit more mixing genres because there was no one to tell me no.
Yeah.
But there wasn't.
No,
That's basically it. That's a really long-winded answer. No one's ever actually asked. Like I did an interview with the Heavy Metal Sit Down. I love that guy to pieces. It's one of my best friends. Shout out Uncle C. I did an interview with him where we were a 4-piece. And that went shit. One of the guys just kept saying the stupidest shit. It's so bad. And then like 6 months later, I went on again as a 1-piece. And the dude didn't really mention that. Like we talked, not danced around it, but we talked about basically everything else. But there was no, and I realized I've never actually said, and I didn't make a post about it because I don't know, it was just like a, not with a bang, but with a whimper type thing. I never made a post about it. Yeah, which is probably why the Metal Archives still says that they're co-writers, etc. on Worm City
right.
and up, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really
Yeah.
painful thing, too, about the process of getting a band assembled. Like, I can go as far as saying that before my current project, my main thing, which is Blind Without Our Failures, has 1 song out, and it's all been me the whole time. I've tried to get people involved. I tried to even recruit people at shows. Not, mind you, in reference to the genre, not the show of genre. It would just be at local shows where it was like kind of heavier music that could eventually correlate and relate to the unbirthed, non-conceived discography of the project. But I remember going through the process of getting just different personalities, different people who I thought would be good, like excellently qualified. They tell me, "Oh, I can play this instrument, no problem." I'm like, okay, cool. Do you want to join a band? Do you have a band? Yeah, I don't have a band, but sure, I'll give it a try. And then those conversations either devolve into their hardened, focused, almost occultic difference in politics with me. And they're like, so you voted for that guy? I don't want to be in the band anymore. I'm like, okay, whatever. You didn't even really get started. You haven't contributed anything except a 1-take vocal video. You haven't done shit. Not really. You haven't written anything. Nothing. But at the same time, it was early enough in the process where it predated all that. So therefore that comment would be in certain contexts irrelevant. But then before that, it was like, okay, we have this one person who would be a really, really good front woman, because that's what I'm aiming for. And I saw this girl fucking, despite how small she is, be the center of attention or the center of people like trying to protect their faces because she's ninja kicking everyone, or her more nomadic style, and how it definitely seems that she's capable of jumping into a crowd with no problem whatsoever. Or someone who was considerably drag, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not drag, but that could show that I'm not bigoted in the context of I don't want a person who's involved in that community in my band. No, sir. Like, no. I wanted to counteract that shit. And so I had someone who was considerably more flamboyant. They had another project that they were doing on the side. It was more black metal influence. I'm like, okay, cool. So you got that black metal side project. And really, you see bands like Angel Maker. You see bands, I guess Angel Maker would be the best example. I mean, fuck, Johnny from Angel Maker is also in Carcosa in that third band.
Like, the more projects that you branch out from the main one, the more people get associated with you, the more they understand how much of a music industry lifer you are, and therefore there's more variety. There's more things for people to plug into. So that was my take with that. I'm like, okay, so you have this other thing that you're doing that hasn't really gotten off the ground yet. So would you be interested in doing lead guitar? Yeah, I would be interested. Couple conversations go by. I'm like, hey, how's this going? Like, do you have anything to offer? Have you made anything yet? No, not really. I've just been busy with life. I'm like, okay. I gave it a year. A year. Still nothing. I'm like, okay, cool. Moving on. And that's basically happened since the band's conception back in 2015, and even far surpassing its first single in December of 2022. So it's like, I have yet to go through the process of getting live musicians involved in this thing. But even then, I'm like, man, to a certain degree, I'm kind of glad that we haven't gotten additional members who officially write shit for the band just yet. Because for more close friends and shit, they're like, yeah, I want to do this and this and this, but I'm too depressed. Or this and that. I'm like, well, how the fuck do you think you get out of the depression? You got to give yourself a purpose. Like, that's kind of how life works. I've learned that for sure. But still, they were just stuck in a stalemate and they never did anything. They still haven't done anything with their life creatively. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad I didn't continue trying to push this thing that would then be forced or maybe even inorganic to someone who is just stuck and they don't want to get out of the place or that period of their life that they're stuck in. They don't want to get out. It's like, well, why would you? Why would you take more time and effort to get someone like that involved? You don't. That's the answer. So
Yeah, it's always a shame because they never just opt out by themselves. Like I think I've mugged a few people around with like guest vocals. Like I've taken too long because life does get in the way. Like I have to keep sitting back because my back is absolutely shot at the moment. So I can understand life getting in the way, but at some point you have to realise that you're dragging someone down. And if you're not as passionate as they are, it's just unfair.
exactly.
A year is a long time. I can't believe you gave him a year, man. That's crazy.
Most of the people I've
I beat
invited
myself
into the
up for like
project.
6 months.
Yeah, right. No, most of the people that I wanted to get involved, including someone who has been traveling across the country doing God knows what, scaling cell phone towers, jumping onto trains to travel across the country because she truly is that nomadic. She's been doing her own thing for a long time, and she even has her own music project that I thought would be relevant to a future or an imminent electronic influence into the project, but then she just never got back to me. She never replied, nothing. I'm like, okay, never mind. Like, I have a lot of patience because fuck, the Anatomy Crosscast is like the one thing I feel like I got going for me sometimes because that's the one thing that is so easily, it's a lot easier to get shit out, to get
14.
conversations, you know. It's a whole thing, but at the end of the day, it's like that's not all that I want to do. Now I have two other musical projects that interconnect with other creative things outside of music that I want to do, but it's money. When it's you by yourself, it's a matter of money. And if you can have a job and keep a job for an extended period of time, that provides you financial backbone and allows financial leeway to then go into these other things. I've had so many setbacks within the last 4 years. It is insane. But nonetheless, I still continue on. I still stay up sometimes overnight doing certain sessions, and this is really not meant to be a crosscast where I rant about like the time I put into this show or any of that shit. No. But like the reality
Well,
of
you
it,
can.
yeah, I can, but I do it. I feel like I do it too much. So it's like I'm trying to divert away from that, but nonetheless, it's like when I can relate my story then and relate what feels like wasted effort to other musicians, I think that's where it came in. But nonetheless, my friend, I'm sorry that you yourself put a lot more into this band only for people to be complacent, hesitant, or just like have different priorities and maybe they never communicated those priorities early on. That shit's just as bad, in my opinion, as not having anyone in the band. Because you have people in the band, but you have apparitions You have
Mhm.
ghosts. You have
I
phantoms.
had I had amazing people in the band. I had the they were really nice people. Those are really good group of people. There are other details to the story that I'm not saying.
Right. Right.
Um, but take those out of the equation. These are good, fantastic people.
Yeah.
Having them and then losing them, it's fucking awful. Because I don't have contact with them now. One of them I have contact with. The guy that I kicked first, I have contact with only because I occasionally shoot him a message. Just because he posts quite a lot on Facebook.
I
Based on
see.
what he's posting, I can gauge how he's doing with his drinking, and I care a lot about that.
Yeah.
So I will occasionally shoot him a message.
Right. No, good shit. And yeah, by apparitions, I just mean like, or apparitions, phantoms, ghosts. It's more or less just the analogy of like how the priorities maybe at the time. Like they were in a band with you, they were in this project, you guys were making music, but nonetheless, like it was almost like the ghost of their ambitions maybe was left behind. Or I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but that's kind of how I've interpreted it so far. Is that the apparition was of their ambition and their hope to get something done, but then eventually, life does get in the way, and that what I said before, that isn't saying that life doesn't. It's just that there are plenty of musicians in our world that are able to balance out certain aspects of life that are challenging to others. So it really is just upon the person. It speaks upon an individual
That's it.
basis. Yeah. But
That's
that's
it. There is a certain way to live your life, a certain mindset to have, a certain set of priorities, and you could skate through life and not have life wouldn't get in the way because in theory life doesn't have to get in the way. If your job is preventing you from making music,
mhm.
you can quit. You can
Right.
quit your job. If you need your house, your job provides it. If you care that much about music, you can be homeless and keep the guitar and busk and hope that you get fame that way. I I don't know. That does sound like something I would do. I hope not. I've got a really flexible job. Life doesn't have to get in the way, but not everyone is able to have the fucking fortitude to.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't just skate through and have no issues, but like it is possible. But
It is possible.
life can get in the way, but ultimately it doesn't have to.
Right.
It's just easier said than done. It's like quitting drinking, isn't it? All you got to do is just not drink it again,
Yeah, exactly.
which is easy in itself,
Or not go to certain
in theory.
websites. Like if you're trying to combat vices and stuff, maybe you have an addiction to more explicit websites and indulging in that because of your loneliness. Like the easier solution to that is just to not go back to that website even if you're lonely, and then distracting yourself with things like a podcast or a band. And I will admit I am projecting a little bit on that. But that's really the reason I keep myself so goddamn busy with this show, especially now, is because despite my loneliness, I'm trying to get away from that darker shit that then, without you knowing, can sometimes connect to child trafficking or sex trafficking. It's a terrible industry. It's a very terrible, deceitful, and manipulative industry that sometimes can make you money at the cost of your dignity and sense of privacy, like forevermore. Like the moment you get involved in that shit, I might not have gotten involved in that industry myself. I'm not handsome enough, I don't think. But ultimately, the thing is, people who do end up getting involved in that industry, they end up enslaving themselves to so many things that very, very evil and manipulative people will just dumb it down to, if you don't do this, we'll get someone else. You might be attractive, but you're not that fucking smart. You need management. You need this and that if you want to get involved. But at the end of the day, even the cleaner platforms like OnlyFans and shit, half the people that I have indulged with and participated in their platforms with end up being very, very manipulative and deceitful. And that's why, like, I'm being phantom transparent right now, as I told y'all throughout the entire fucking show. I'm like trying to get away from that stuff so bad. It's difficult when someone like me is like a hopeless romantic and has been for a long time, but No one is stuck around for like more than not even like a little past 4 months, not even a third of a year. No one has stuck around that long to invest into what could be a really, really awesome future. Some people did, but then it was like it was too good or something. I don't know. I have no clue because I'm not going to speak for them. But like after that, then, because I'm sure other people deal with this all the time, it's an epidemic. It really is, because it's a dopamine spike. And then if you start becoming addicted to it, then you start to divert from the true meaning of happiness from hard work. But nonetheless, you know, this is me saying that even if you are lonely, just give yourself a fucking hobby to do. Don't let those darker aspects of life get in the way of you potentially accomplishing something that you didn't think that you were capable of doing now or 5 years ago.
Yeah, make some fucking music.
Make some fucking music, man.
Just make some fucking music.
Like,
I don't get why everyone doesn't want to make music. Why would you want to kick a ball around the field or like grab a ball off another man? Why would you not want to make music and like sit in your room and be a rock star? I do not understand how people have passions. I really don't.
Yeah, and then
Baffles me. That's one thing I'll never understand about people. I can't understand if you like have a passion that is not music.
Right.
I mean, gaming's cool and stuff, but if that's where it ends, it's not the one.
Right. And I mean, the thing is too, scientifically or spiritually, for either side of that table, like music is the one thing that connects all sentient beings. So it's like, it just makes sense for more people to be involved. And that's why I've attempted and guessed a quote of like 1 in 4 people worldwide, global, among the billions of people that there are, 1 in 4 people is musicians or a musician, no matter what. So it's like
It's not enough. It's not enough.
It's not enough. It really isn't.
It needs to be at least 3 or 4, because if it was 4, there'd be no AI.
That's very true.
Text to speech is fine though. Text to speech is fine to fuck around with, because sometimes you can't get a song, so you make one. But everything else can fuck up.
Right. Honestly, you know what? That actually might be a pretty good topic to jump into. AI. You know, AI is not great, but I'm glad that there are new steps being taken to legally divert the power and authority of AI-based creations from that of the creative industry. So what's your take on AI, sir?
Well, that's not a subject that I'm massively in the know on. We have a TV and we watch it. You know, we're not in the dark ages, but our TV gets used for Amazon Prime, Netflix, Predator stings on YouTube, and gaming. We don't really watch like TV. All I see of AI is what people have done with it on Instagram. Maybe I'll hear about some lawsuit where I can't remember. I saw something the other day where some famous person is trying to sue AI or sue someone. I don't know. I don't get how you sue AI. But it's not something I know much about, except it doesn't belong in the music industry.
I agree.
And AI has fucked me twice. Like, again, I'm not going to say names, but some guy asked me to do guest vocals on a track, and the track sounded unmixed. It wasn't very good. The song was good, the overall quality and what was sent. Not really. But it sounded like I didn't think anything of it. Like, it didn't sound like it was going to be AI, because there's a lot of, I don't know. It's not that it's out of time. You're just listening and you're like, feel like that could have been recorded better. All that was a little bit. It's hard to explain. It wasn't consistent. It wasn't perfect. So I put vocals on it. I did really good vocals. Not like, oh, amazing. Like, I was really happy with, like, I had like a minute to play with. So I did like sample. No. So it was like a bat scream. Austin Powers sample from Fat Bastard. A heavy breakdown sample. And it was the fluidity of them was fantastic. Like, it just, I was so happy with the guest vocals. Like I wouldn't send guest vocals I'm not happy with, but sometimes I'll send it and I'm like, I can't use this as a Worm Infested song now. Fuck me. I sent it over. He releases it. The opening scream is gone. I'm never going to be able to record one like that again. I didn't even edit the fucker. The sample has been cut up in a way that it wasn't out of time, and I spent about like 2 days, like of whenever I go to work, it's 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and I just work with music. So I gave 2 days to that, just the mixing of basically just the sample, chopping them up perfect, volume perfect, because I'm fucking doing it all on my phone, so it's a bit long-winded. I can't just sit there and just, it's like, oh, bus Wi-Fi's a bit shit. Fucking wait for the mixing knob to turn down, and then it's fucking gone all the way down, and you're like, fuck's sake. It was cut up to fuck. And then on top of people going, yeah, the guest vocals sounded a bit weird, because there was a weird effect on them. The guy did like a call-out thing. He was like, blah, 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 his band name. And then he said, Worm Infected. And I was like, bro, retake that. I'm not one to care too much, but Worm Infested is a brand. That's my baby. Just at least, if I'm doing all of this, say the name right. Just record Infested. Don't even say Worm. Just record it. That didn't happen. And he then got loads of shit for all of his tracks being AI. Because he released like an album, and then the next day released an album. And they were like 20-something songs on each one. And the singing, the vocals on each one were just completely... Like there's one where it was like singing in like attack style. One that was a female. One... They not that people can't like change their voices and stuff, but this was clearly like, okay, bro, are you just doing the instrumentals and you're just collaborating and not putting that you're collaborating and it's not you doing vocals? Turns out it was all AI. And I got a little bit of flack for that because he kind of got like booted from, I don't know about the scene, but at least from the wormy community that I'm trying to, he got booted from that, and he got quite a bit of flack from lots of people. I guess that's good because fuck AI. The only issue is that like not everyone sees that and goes, oh, there's a lesson to be learned. That's a young kid and he's probably demotivated from music now. That's a shame. I hope he comes back. AI free. And then the second time I paid like $15 for a logo and some artwork. And I put it in the group chat. I was like, what do you think of this, guys? And one of like my day one homies, shout out my closest, sent me a screenshot. He'd put it through like an AI check, and it was like 99.9% AI. Yeah. So they were both AI, and I think it wasn't much, but it was like $15. The artwork I get is usually $70, but this was a different person. It's in the chat. Yeah. So Mrs. Worm interjected. Sit there and look pretty. Not like that. I can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah. So, yeah, AI track that's tied to Worm Infested. Thankfully, no AI logo and artwork. And I'm much better with much happier with the Hunting Humans artwork as it is now. I shouldn't have tried to cheat on my OG artist who's done all of them except the Bee Stings artwork.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, basically to conclude, fuck AI.
Fuck AI. Right up its ass. Like
But there is AI on the upcoming Worm Infested EP.
I see.
But it is blatantly apparent. I'm just using it as a shout out. I'm literally just, the artwork is a character. That character does the intro and just hypes up. That's all it is. It's not fucking replicating an instrument. Someone listens to that, they hear that voice, they get nostalgia. They get the fucking funny jokes, the play on words, the shouting out like people that have been there from day one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
and then the second track starts, right? Harry Potter sample, another nostalgia, slam.
Is it the one that I ended up, or the that the Anatomy Crosscast IG ended up replying on? Just like, hey, we can get Sean Cross to do like a future thing, or was this a different one?
Say again, sorry?
Right. So I was asking if the AI voice sample intro thingy that you were talking about is the same one that we ended up replying to through the IG.
Yes.
Ah, see. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's just I used to be able to do really good Weevil Underwood impression, and just I can't do it now. I can't do it now. Puberty. It hit me like 2 years ago, and I lost the ability. No. So I thought, okay, it's fine. It's nostalgia. I wanted to hit people in the feels with that one. If they listen to that and they haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh, they won't get the relation style.
Oh, I
They
see.
won't know. They won't understand that they're missing out and they weren't born in like the best era. If they fuck with it, they're not going to care how shit the music is because they got on the nostalgia. There's Weevil Underwood on the artwork. There's Basic Insect. There's a Weevil Underwood. Next track starts with Harry Potter sample. But it's not obviously a Harry Potter sample, but once you figure it out, you're like, fuck yeah. And then there's little nostalgia nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. So one of my favorite things that I've figured out over time about our world of music is definitely samples. So like, you seem to be a pretty big guy when it comes to, or you seem to be a pretty passionate dude when it comes to samples. How do you decide upon the samples that you incorporate into Worm Infested?
Because the sample is the first thing that goes on the track. And then the track is built around that. You watch something and you go, like the other day I was watching the originals and someone said, in times of need, even the devil eats flies. But the accent and the way he said it, I was like, that's going to be a song. And then
Yeah.
you put the sample. And then you go, does the sample go here in between these bits? Or does the song start with the song? And then there.
Fair enough.
And then you add like more samples and everything. Because I think that's the most fun with mixing is sticking with the sample.
I think that's going to be really fun to do on Blind's next track. Like I have the job to do it now. I hopefully will have it funded and kickstarted by this November, by this month. I'm not sure. But the next song that I'm wanting to write for the band, for the project, is going to have a really, really cool sample, or a really cool like distortioned and like pitch lowered sample. That way it doesn't, intervene, or I don't know, like it doesn't fuck around too much with the original court hearing that it's from. But that one should be pretty fun because it talks about the lies and misconceptions and the deception of the pandemic. Like, people died, yes, COVID was real, yes, but there was a lot of shit with COVID that did not need to happen. So it's like that song is my way of saying I was right from the fucking beginning. And here's a song about my prediction in which the prediction occurred in spring of 2020. Like, I was on top of my shit.
Do you think that's going to translate to the listening?
I really hope so.
Do you think?
I really hope so. And there will be like a disclaimer at the beginning and everything. There will be a slower bass guitar, like almost Varials or Spite-esque bass guitar intro that kind of leans in the main riff.
It's in both of those. One second, sorry.
You're good.
Sorry about that. Apologies.
You're good. No, it's gonna
neglecting IRL.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe that's a reason people have only been
it's okay.
for 4 months.
I'm very struggling hearing and trying to read lips.
No, you're good.
And I feel very rude.
You're fine.
No, I'm really awful with attention. So apologies.
I think a lot of people are. It's just a modern day epidemic. That's why TikTok exists, ironically. But no, it's gonna kickstart with like a slower, more like groovy and still bony, if that's a word to describe it, version of the main melody and bass guitar. And then you're gonna have the sample kind of distorted in the background, along with a text disclaimer saying like we don't, as a band, we don't believe that the pandemic like didn't get people killed, but there are other truths to it or something like that. This is our song about early instinctual predictions or something to make it sound more educated, and then boom, song will start. It's gonna be a lot like Ingested and Xenobiotic and a little bit of Ginger in there too. Those are the main 3 bands, but it's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be really fun and really fast. So I'm looking forward to finally investing the money to get that song started. But dude, honestly, this has been a fun conversation so far. But I want to go ahead and jump to the topic, the theme of location, right? So we've talked to a couple bands from the UK, that being Party Cannon, To Obey a Tyrant, Pathogenic Virulence.
Party Cannon is from Scotland. That's a different country.
That's very true, but it's all based in the UK.
I don't actually care about that, but I think that on behalf of Scotland, the awareness should be raised. And just to point out, Scotland is a much nicer country than England. They get lovely. So it's so rude.
No, you're
but they're also over the pond, and it's the same pond.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And as someone who is a Scotsman themselves by my legal last name that I do believe I've dropped a couple times throughout the show. So if you watched the show and actually jumped into it, you'll know my legal last name. But if you haven't, then fucking get with the program. I'm definitely Scottish, and what is it? I definitely try not to make that mistake too often. But UK local acts, United Kingdom local acts would be Party Cannon, Pathogenic Virulence, To Obey a Tyrant, Josh Davies of Malice UK, now in Ingested, and then yeah, hell, we hope to get plenty more. But nonetheless, we're trying to learn about the UK session by session. So what is something that you think most people would not know about the UK that they should know?
A lot of the stereotypes that they have are completely wrong. But some of them are just so fucking... But for the most part, they're just so off. And that's fine. But that's the main one. Like, they think that all we do is eat beans on toast and fish and shit. Like, yeah, that's a big thing. In seaside towns. So, a country's this. Anywhere that's around that and sort of surrounding thing is going to do that. And in Brighton specifically, most of the money going into the fish and chips is from tourists.
Fair enough. People want to get their English fish and chips then.
People make a stereotype, but they are stereotyping their people and other people. They are coming over and fitting that stereotype, and I think that's hilarious.
That is.
We do eat fish and chips. I don't. I hate fish.
Oh, you don't like fish?
But,
you're not a seafood guy?
Yeah, I don't eat meat.
Oh.
And I've never been a fish person.
I see. Well, that makes
even when I wasn't vegetarian, I never liked fish.
I see. Okay. Well, what's something...
Trying to roll with these.
Yeah, that looks like a challenge.
Difficult.
What is something that you like about the country of England, and what is something you don't like about the country of England? Provide us a little bit more perspective.
The nature that we have, like certain parts, like we have a thing called National Trust. So there'll be certain like heritage buildings that are like preserved. That sounded really intellectual. That's all. That's as much as I can say. They're basically massive stretches of land with enormous buildings on them. We have loads of those that are absolutely beautiful. The countryside is absolutely amazing. What I don't like is, I guess, how bad England's become, like in the last 2 years.
Right.
Like, it's been a slow decline. Like, it's hilarious. Since Jeremy Kyle got axed, there's been a decline. But then 2 years ago, it just snapped. And I'm not even talking about the main issue that everyone's talking about, which I'm not even touching because I don't give a shit either way. That's just wild to me. And it's such a small country as well. Like I would thought it'd be easy to manage.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like you have states bigger than our whole country.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I've always tried to put in perspective is that most of the UK and Europe or European regions, like most of their countries are the size of our states. It's always been so wild to me. But I guess it just makes for like a Euro-continental travel road trip thingy that would make it so much easier, you know? Except for the obstacle of getting into the northern European regions and like attempting to traverse mountain regions. But even then, like it's not like they don't have cars that are built for that. So no problem with that at all. And I mean, shout out, I guess, not I guess, shout out to all of the bands from the European region of the world that we've had located in Czech, Prague, Belgium, Germany, Sweden.
Out, no phase, no case.
Yes, no face, no case. Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning seeing things from Czech and Prague as well. Yeah, shout out to all those bands, even if one of them doesn't want to return. I still appreciate the conversation that we had at the time. And yeah, we look forward to the continued European domination and, you know, take over, if you will, the cobweb networking of the Anatomy Crosscast. Also, hopefully soon reaching into countries like France and Italy for the first time. That would be really, really cool. But it's inevitable at this point.
I can help with France. Our main label is lives in northern France, and he has different projects, and he's trying to build a community out there, like a scene. They obviously France does have metal, but he's trying to create like a network. Maybe you could help with that.
I would love to help with that if I can. I mean, that's what it means to be a global domination podcast, even if it's not like you just see the Anatomy Crosscast logo fly on a flag at a country. No, that's not what I mean. It's just like with networking and shit and telling the stories of all these musicians. But the first couple I have in mind would be Vermicular Incubation, Hurricane, and like a couple others, I think, that are based in France. And hell, we've even found bands located in Greece. That would be cool. But yeah, the more countries, the better. That way we can add more flags to what will eventually be a new Facebook page cover, as well as a cover for the YouTube channel, where it's just like you see all those flags and you're like, what are all these flags for? Well, we interviewed bands from all those countries. Hello, cat. Hello, gato. Very, very old cat.
Kitty. No. She's 7.
7. That's still pretty old for a cat, is it not? That's okay, but old lady.
No. My old cat was 22.
22. Holy shit. Never mind.
That's not that bad. That's not that bad. Do you guys just all your cats get like hit by cars or something? Because I swear that the average is like 17, 18. If they die at 15, it's like, oh man, they had so many more years. What the fuck?
Well, I mean,
I had one at Ray when it was like 16.
wow. I mean, I guess I'm thinking like dog years or some shit, because I was raised around a lot of dogs. So that's probably why.
Yeah, there's a mad cutoff. They're like fully grown by 2, and then they stay in their 30s for ages or some shit.
Yeah, basically. More to learn about cats then, eh? That's the basic science of cats, question mark. Okay, so we got a thing that you like about England. We got a thing that you don't like about England. Something that you think people should know. Would you say that living in England, the many cities that you have lived in over time, has affected the way that you would write music for Worm Infested or the other projects you've been involved in? Not even like, you know, we're from England or anything like that, but just like maybe the consistency of gloominess and overcast and shit, or even the scenery around you, or maybe even personal experiences. Do you think that in that context, living in England has affected the way you would write music?
No. I do have a song that's based on like an English like event, that I'm not proud of writing. That wouldn't have been written if I'd been in another country, but beyond that, not really. The whole point of making Worm Infested music is just to stay sober. Not obviously, I'm not a nun, but no drink, and just to cheer myself up, like funniness with the song, with the concept. The fucking slam song, "Death by Bee Stings," for fuck's sake.
Right.
It's funny. It's just a bit of humour. Maybe that could be because it's a bit gloomy over here, but I'm just gloomy for life reasons. So the music is just as it is. That's what I make there is what I put out is what's best for my mental health. So
Fair enough.
there might be some correlation, like where I was with my dad. There was in an area of Brighton called Whitehawk, which there's like 3 areas in Brighton, which are probably like the worst parts. I mean, obviously everyone's got their own opinion, but if you do by consensus, then I think it's like Malmesbury, Whitehawk, and then the last one is like 3 interchangeable ones. I only work in Brighton now. I don't live in Brighton. I'm a poser if you check the Instagram, but if you say Peacehaven, no one knows what that is. If you say Brighton, you get people messaging and going, yeah, local boy. And it's like, well, I work in a kitchen, so comparatively I spend more of my time in the kitchen, right, than I do at home. So Brighton-based. Maybe living in Whitehawk, where it's a chabbier area, jockey area, where people call it jock, whatever. Maybe that might have influenced why there's some like rap bars creeping into the material. Subconsciously, but I never really thought about it. I just go, oh, someone will go, oh, you should try doing this, and I'll go, okay, and then that sounds good. So the whole EP is based on that next thing.
I see. Yeah, and I only
Does that make sense? It's a waffly answer. It's a I don't know, but in a in-depth way.
Right. No, absolutely. The thing is, like, every now and then I get the impression, especially as we meet bands who aim to be prolific in their regions of the world. For example, Celestial Scourge, which is a more traditional but still modernized alien death metal band. I mean, hell, their vocalist runs Oslo Death Fest, and plenty of countries from different parts of Europe or the UK fly over there all the time, and therefore they are directly responsible. They take direct responsibility for all of the artists coming in, because that means that they wanted those people to come in. So I think I usually ask that question in retrospect to bands that are trying to make a name for themselves in a community that's just getting started in a region of the world. To that specific region, they're starting the metal community. So it's like, do you plan to be a prolific band for that community, or do you plan to kind of just stay in the shadows and let other people take the reins? That's more or less the context of that question typically. But after all, England has had many, many bands. And I mean, shit, fucking, if it wasn't the US or Norway, it was the UK at the very beginning, at the hippocampus or skull beginning of metal getting started, let alone death metal, thrash, beatdown, punk, hardcore, and
Yeah,
all
then
the other genres.
the new wave of English heavy metal, the importance of that is just that can't be understated.
Right, absolutely.
This,
Such a small part of the world, really, in reference to what we were saying earlier, U.S. state to your UK country size. It's I can only imagine it's kind of hard to make a name for yourself despite it being such a condensed area. And then I think of other countries like Indonesia, where, like I was saying with Lucas's Stillbirth, they're still so early in their counterculture that it's like still taboo to be in a metal band. So bands like Eden Adversary, they remain
I wouldn't
masked.
have thought that.
Yeah, that's seriously
From
that.
what I see, like the shit I see like Indonesian bands and stuff post, I'm like, fucking hell. I mean, like Larry Wang and everyone Larry Wang adjacent, like the song names and band names. I thought they were like, that was a brutal country. Like everyone there by default, like the average person by majority, they liked metal. That surprises me a lot.
Yeah,
And they
no.
say boss.
Honestly, it was awesome to learn about that, just because that means that there's still a lot of rebellion in just being a musician over there. And I'm talking about Central Java. I'm talking about Jakarta, Indonesia, the Philippines, Vietnam, a little bit of Taiwan, because that's kind of in that same area, but not really. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Larry Wang is from Taiwan. That is my mistake, but was an example
Yes, a good example. A
while
solid
being accurate.
example.
Apologies.
No, you're good. You're good. But it's been really cool to connect with those bands because it's almost like being involved in a more or like a less problematic occultic part of a region of the world and its culture. The Philippines, Norbert of Kamayo kind of corrected that take. So at least in the Philippines, it's a little more accepted. There's more variety in the culture over there. And really the band name itself, Kamayo, it relates to the language of the Mandaya tribe, who were the first rebellions against the Spanish conquistadors who were trying to indoctrinate and convert everyone in the Philippines to that of Roman Catholicism. So, I mean, like, the Philippines is a little bit different. That's what we've learned recently, because that is our newest published episode. But other than that, yeah, it's definitely still, like, the cool thing. It's still the rebellious thing to be a metalhead and someone involved in slam over there. And I find that to be really fascinating as well, because that means we're kind of like a secret show, or, like, we're nestled into that secretive culture over there. But, moving on a little bit.
Do people still care what music people listen to with how accepting we are of everything today? Do people still give a shit? The only, like, negative hate comments I get, I think, is people calling me gay because of my hair, but using nastier slurs. Like, I didn't think people give a shit what music you listen to now. The only funny looks I get is when I go into work, because it's in, like, the most upper class part of Brighton ever, and everyone there is, like, famous. Like, there's a regular there, a guy called Fatboy Slim, who's, like, I think he's pretty famous everywhere, but Brighton, he's in there all the time, and you're walking through with a fucking any slam band. It's the only time. No one gives a shit. That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, U.S. and U.K. for sure are a lot more open. In Europe as well, yeah. There's a new approach. We're a lot more modernized in that fashion. But nope, Southeast Asia, they're still pretty behind in all that. And not only that, but because projects like Agung or projects like Makluk, Agung and Makluk, or even Eden Adversary, you'll hear on the news about, like, monsters committing crimes as opposed to people, because some people still believe in the Makluk or the monsters of that region of the world that much. You'll hear about, like, pig demons robbing someone. And I'm like, that is wild, but that is so cool. Like, I want to be there. And whether it's AI or not, I've seen some clips recently of some Indonesian monsters and shit, like this weird ghost that has the niche of being wrapped in a body bag, and, like, you'll try to summon it and bring it out, and it'll start hopping towards you, but it looks more like it's floating. That video that I saw, I think just yesterday, was skyrocketing, and this dude's, like, trying to give it an offering, but once it finally emerges from the woods, and I mean, this thing is floating off the ground doing that number, but it's a person in a body bag, or at least that's what it's supposed to look like, and it's just jumping towards him and shit. And eventually he gets so scared shitless that he goes back into his house, and, well, he cries and screams in a way that I thought was funny at the time. But I probably would think the same thing if there was just a bobbin body bag floating towards me. So definitely a different culture entirely. But that's what makes it so fun for these crosscast sessions that we hope to continue to have in the near future with Southeast Asian bands. Let alone, we might be doing our first one with a Chinese band soon. I'm like, fuck yeah, finally get over to China. Because they have a really good scene too, with the Dark Prison Massacre and other bands. Like, that's the main one.
The Dark Plagiarism Massacre. You can't let them live that one down. You have to bring that up every time.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, it's all fine. It's absolutely all fine. Like, the slam scene's pretty accepting. However, thankfully, there are enough gatekeepers in the scene that every time they make a post, they get reminded, and that's good. That's good. Yes. I have to troll as well.
Well, absolutely. That, and we're really trying to get involved in the Japanese and Korean slam scene. That's like my next goal, is those more prolific Asian countries. Korea has this really cool band called Visceral Explosion, and they released an album that seemed to do really, really well. So I'm trying to get in contact with them, but we'll see if that happens. It seems that just that region of the world, though.
Have you heard of Hoplite?
No, I haven't.
It's a Japanese black metal band, but it's based on Greek mythology.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's just that explanation and name alone is just it's just really good. They're not like world famous, mega famous, that shit. But
we'll make them world famous.
I have this really annoying friend who always sends recommendations that just aren't up my alley. Sometimes he sends ones that just slap, and that's one that I feel need to mention while we're talking about Asia.
Fair enough. No,
get them on. They're not too big.
Yeah, I'll try to get them on for sure. Like every band ever. That's kind of the joke. Every band ever we want to eventually get on the show, and especially the ones that are smaller, I guess. Like I would love to continue to have an overwhelming amount of sessions that way. Sometimes it's like you turn into the Anatomy Crosscast and you're like, well, I don't even know who this band is. But I'll check them out. I'll listen to their Crosscast interview and then go listen to their music. But I wanted to go ahead and quote, for the sake of this session and your newest EP, that being Worm City, I wanted to go ahead and quote 5 different either artists or albums that ended up, I'm not sure how your creative process works, right? Because this is our first date session. But maybe, do you get inspired by other bands when you're writing music, or does it all just come straight from the Mr. Worm dome?
It's hard because there's so many factors. I don't go, okay, this is what I want from the EP, and then I write it all down, and then I just put the time, the effort, money, all the things you need to make the perfect product. It will just be a combination of how the last thing's been received, what artwork as well. The artwork I find is very important. I'll generally have the artwork before I've started writing on any music. That's why the debut EP is just the guy spitting out worms, because Worm Infested. There wasn't really any, besides the name and the odd sample, there wasn't really any worm theme on there, because it wasn't really trying to be, because the EP was almost finished before the name was made. With Worm City, there's maybe a combination of, I was listening to a bit more hip-hoppy adjacent stuff at the time because I was at work, and they get shitty if you play metal. Maybe that was carrying over. But also, I've been introduced to Crime Slug, and we've been doing collaborations on each other's tracks. And whenever I'd send him something, he'd be like, yeah, it's nice, man. I like the screams. But I don't have a British accent. Can you say this? And he said, like, he gave me a line, which was, no tea and crumpets, just racks and stacks. It didn't, and it's very, like, stereotypical. But I've not done any spoken or rappy parts at all. So I did that, and he was like, no, do better. And just kept, like, he knew what he wanted and was pretty perfectionist about that, which I respect, despite the quality of Worm Infested being crap. It's the best I can possibly make it, and it's a lot of effort to get it to that point. I quite enjoyed that process, coming out of my comfort zone, because it's not really something I'd ever done. I did, like, piss around with rapping when I was like 17, because I went to like a music community hall in Whitehawk, but that was just all rappers and people that wanted to play guitar but would just pick it up and do all of this stuff, but they're only playing the top note, and that's all it ever was. Maybe like half of Seven Nation Army, like that one bit. That's it. There's no, I don't know. I just get the artwork, and I'll know from that. The artwork after the debut is all some form of nostalgia. Worm City, not so much. I wanted it to look like the illustrations in, there's a book that I used to like when I was growing up called they were called Fighting Fantasy, and they were like a D&D book that you could play on the go. If you didn't have the dice for it, it had a character sheet on the left and on the front page. It had like could like roll for spells and shit. There was dice written on the pages, so you could like interact with that. And I liked the illustrations. I wanted to like throw back to that. That's really like indirect though. No one's going to get that. So I started to get really fucking on the nose with it. So Death by Bee Stings, obviously Beedrill, Pokemon, and then try and make the music based on that. Like the artwork for Bee Stings is fucking disgusting. The drill's going through the guy's head. So when I made Death by Bee Stings with fake drums, when we did that, stupidly fast drums, like inhumanly, because fucking drill, and that set the pace for the whole song. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm waffling, but I don't know the answer.
No, you're good.
I'll know how many songs I want on a release, and up until like a month ago, they were all just going to be EPs because I didn't want to commit too much to one specific thing. That's why I like guest vocalists, because you can just bring someone in, piss around with a little something just for that one track, and if people don't like it, they could just ignore that one track. They don't have to buy the EP, but they could just add all the songs they like to a playlist on Spotify and still be amazing.
Yeah,
in my eyes.
It's definitely an easier marketing approach, and what we were talking about earlier a little bit is like EPs and albums, and the fact that with my own project, Once Upon a Time, like I didn't mention this, but my buddy, my roommate, who I'm like trying to get involved because he wants to do something. I'm like, okay, well, how about we release an album per member, and like for the placement of each of the order of the members that join in, for every member that joins in after the first cycle, which will be an EP and an album, the second cycle you can do an EP and an album that you write, and we can just completely change the sound of the band, catch people off guard, bring me the horizon level with the variety and shit, and then that will be.
See, I like that.
Yeah, and that's what we still plan to do for sure. It's just the fact like that's also why it's so surprising to me that no one has jumped into this band yet, because I've vocalized this on the show plenty of times, but also not everybody listens to the Anatomy Crosscast. So, but that's something I want to do for the band, is have it be more of everyone's band instead of just a founding member by that joining member order, and every album is just drastically different. Like that would be true counterculture to me. Is like, yeah, sure, we wrote more of an older Make Them Suffer inspired album the first time, because that's what we plan to do. Has some keyboard in there, still deathcore, still heavy metalcore, but there's a lot of elements that mix all the DNA bands that I sought to be inspired by and sought to sound like a little bit, whilst having our own swing on things. Next album could be a Bad Omens-esque electronically infused metalcore album, so on and so forth.
No, Attack infused.
Or Asking Alexandria infused. I haven't listened to Attack, so I wouldn't know.
Have you not?
Nope, not yet.
Oh man, you need to listen to the Someday Came Suddenly EP, and just remember the year that it came out.
Right.
Fucking perfect. I put that in my top 5.
Okay.
Here come the hate comments.
No, Attack is definitely important to the scene, and I understand that, because once upon a time, Austin Carlisle and Caleb Schomer were both in that project. Like, you can't make that shit up. Now, what I can say is that I checked.
Yeah, it wasn't a supergroup at the time, but in hindsight, knowing what they were both going to do, it was almost a supergroup at the time.
It was almost a supergroup, exactly. I can't.
It's like Nirvana, like. Sorry, carry on.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, as recommended by Zach Diebold of new wave MySpace deathcore band I Saw God, which they released an EP last year called Echoes of a Dying World. One band that he recommended to me after my whole Blind Without Our Failures spiel is that I should check out See You Space Cowboy. So I did. And I was like, whoa, this is actually really fucking sick. Like, how weird it is. Really works. And I think I'm going to start listening to that band a lot more. I only heard a couple of their songs, but I love them because they were so strange. They really did reflect chaos and the unhinged personality that a lot of people claim to have today, but concentrated into music, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, of course I'm going to fucking listen to more of this when I have the time. And most likely that
Fuck
will
yeah.
be a CrossCore Patreon exclusive front to back, which means you only have to pay $3 to listen to it if you want to. But it's just, there's so much music. There's so much music that I have yet to listen to for the MySpace era. And it's like, I don't really have the time to listen to everything. I wish I did. Once upon a time I did, but now I don't. So,
That's the main one. That's the main one. Like, you get that out of the way, you're good.
yeah, fair enough.
It doesn't top that.
That and what is it? So Attack, See You Space Cowboy, the OG Whitechapel records, because I still haven't listened to those. Most of the Carnifex discography, because I haven't heard that yet. Kill Switch Engage, fucking Trivium.
Yes.
Haven't listened
In
to any of that yet.
fucking in the track where Howard Jones comes in and they fist bump and they put an end to all that supposed beef. I was there. I was like, yo, oh my god, I shouldn't be getting so emotional. I fucking love Kill Switch.
Kill Switch
Ah,
Engage. Definitely
any
something
vocalist
one
is
of those
fine with me.
bands. No, hell yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of music for me to check out. So if you guys want me to, quote an album that you would want me to listen to, and for only $3 a month, including other content for other YouTube channels, including this, possibly even early access crosscast sessions before they even come out. Just saying. Yeah, $3, and you'll be able to watch me listen to all that shit, because that's really what I built my platform on. So at least some of those 1,023 people like to watch me check out shit, because they know I'm passionate. They know I'm a lifer when it comes to this stuff. It's just I can't be a lifer just yet because y'all aren't making me money yet. But once you are, then you better bet your ass I will be. Like, I'll be able to pay rent at this point. Uh-oh. Okay,
What's going on?
we're back. Where
Yeah.
did I last leave off?
It cut out instantly.
Oh, that's okay.
That threw me right off. It was Kill Switch Engage,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it started.
So yeah, Kill Switch Engage, Carnifex, fucking Attack. Like there are plenty of bands that I have yet to listen to. It's just not enough time. So if you guys are interested in me listening to those albums, look into subscribing to the CrossCore Patreon, as basically any band above 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, their front to back album listening sessions will be tucked behind that only $3 paywall. Like that's it. And I'm gonna get as much fucking albums on there as possible. We're just trying to make it to where, like, there's a little bit more incentive for you guys to be subscribed to that. But also, in the future, most likely, if I become a lifer and am able to be a lifer based off of that Patreon alone, you guys will be getting early access, possibly even 2 weeks, a week, early access to crosscast sessions with bands that we've hosted all around the world. Like, that's really the goal. I want to be realistic and not be a dick, but also I want to be a lifer. I want to do this for a living. It's just I can't yet. So yeah, I'm just glad I have a job that can financially support most of what I want to do. So I do believe then that will be the conclusion of the people part of the podcast. We've gotten to know you pretty well tonight, Mr. Ethan, Mr. Worm, and I think now we're really just asking more of those clickbait questions that possibly you'd hear on other shows, or possibly you heard in the other interviews that you did before. If not, so question 1, depersonalizing you. You are now more officially Mr. Worm. Where did the name Worm Infested come from?
So the first slam band that I came across, I think I was like 15 at the time, and I was just sat in my stepdad's office on his computer, and scrolling through YouTube, listening to like gradually heavier music, just sort of seeing where I could gauge it. And I think the heaviest I could get was a band from Arizona called Meat. And the first song I heard of theirs was called Worm Infested. And it wasn't like, I mean, I listen to it now, it's not like, wow, this is fucking revolutionary. I don't listen to it like Frog Mallet, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking get smiley when I put that shit on. Someone puts on Frog Mallet just out of context. I was like, yeah, fucking let's go. But it was good, and it was audible for me. It was still slam technically, but I could fuck with it. Even though Amure were too heavy for me. I don't know. The OG now, but yeah. And I didn't really think much of it. I listened to them a little bit, and then when I was coming up with an idea for a band name, and knowing that it was going to be, I don't really call Worm Infested Slam. I don't even specify genre on the social. For a fitting tribute,
Fair enough.
and it kind of goes as a good name. The only issue was beating the algorithm in the sense that when you put Worm Infested in, that the Cannibal Corpse EP comes up first.
I see. Did you say that the first?
It doesn't anymore.
Did you say the first ever slam band you got into was Meat Hook from Arizona?
Yeah.
I'm from Arizona, dude. That's where I'm at right now.
Have you heard of them?
Nope, never heard of them. But
They got a really weird discography. They've only released 2 albums, and there's like such a gap between them, and they're so inactive on the socials. But like, it's really good. It's be a good introduction to slam.
Shit. Okay, I'll definitely have to check Meat Hook out then. I know in
Not
Arizona.
not for you, you know slam, but someone.
Right. Like in Arizona, local to slam or deathcore or death metal, we got Atoll, which we are in conversations with behind the scenes to get on the show. We've had Virulent, which would probably fucking be forefront of the AZ local scene if they didn't have the issue that they did and disband. And then there's Carniceria. There's the Exiled Martyr, which is more like Angel Maker-esque deathcore. We got a couple out here, and the scene's starting to grow a little bit more following that of Virulent's departure, because we're all just a lot more interconnected that way. Potato is coming up. That's going to be one that we get on the show. That's former members of Virulent. But yeah, I've never heard of Meat Hook before. That kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, whoa, who's Meat Hook?
Yeah, all one word.
Right.
The artwork was kind of what drew me to it, because there's like skinned corpses hanging on the hook, but not like super bloody. I mean, it's pretty fucking brutal, but I could handle it. But I remember seeing it and going, oh fuck me, and clicking on it, and yeah, maybe that was some inspiration later on down the line. I've no idea, but dude, yeah, it's good. I love that you're from Arizona as well. Again, the whole scene just sort of
Just
comes full
melts
circle
together really half the time. And believe me, I don't like being in Arizona, but we got a pretty good music scene here, so that's what's important. That triple heat encourages a lot of heavy shit. But second question then, attempting to depersonalize you in a way, what do you think distinguishes or separates Worm Infested from other bands in the English death metal or slam scene? If there isn't anything, that's okay, but if there is, what is it and why?
So I'm stumped. I wouldn't say that I'm doing anything revolutionary. I'm just having fun using, I guess, slam as a template and throwing a spin off of it. I think, off the top of my head, Worm Infested might be the most unpredictable slam-ish adjacent band that I can think of off the top of my head. But I can't really think of any that are that unpredictable.
Right.
Like, if I think of a slam band and they say they're going to release an album, I can have a rough idea of how it's going to sound. The only thing that might change is if the lineup changes, and they might bring in a little something, or they might get a guest vocalist that would change it. You could do a whole track that's the same slam as you've always done. Add a rapper on it, suddenly that track is a completely different vibe, but you haven't done that. So I think, and if I didn't post as many teasers of what's going on, and I didn't send, like if people are in my group chat or they've shown support from way back, they'll get fucking early. I'll record something and I'll go, bro, does this work? What do you think should be the next lyric? They get all these early little nuggets. If you didn't get all those little things, you'd be fucking having no idea what was going to be on the next EP.
Fair enough. No.
Hopefully there's something for everyone, maybe, but that's also going to get a lot of hate for some things. And I don't understand why. Just only listen to the ones you like.
So then, yeah, in that case, how I'm kind of interpreting that is this is something that we talked about earlier, right? We talked about prolific bands that happen to be located in the UK and England specifically. One being Bring Me the Horizon, right? So that band started out as MySpace deathcore. They are probably one of the biggest names in that subgenre. And then they're like, nah, we're done with that. And they did 3 different records, that being, there's one with a really, really long name. There's Suicide Season. There's the one with the dude with the mask on it. It's like,
There is a hell. Believe me, I've seen it. There is a heaven. Let's keep it secret.
Right.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you nailed it. And fucking,
Suicide Season is my favorite though, and then Sempiternal, and then fuck everything else on the Discog. I don't listen to. Even the early MySpace stuff.
fair enough. No, the Sempiternal was revolutionary, I think, for bands that later up would pop up, including that of Architects, because as far as I'm concerned, Sempiternal inspired that of Holy Hell and For Those That Wish to Exist, and then also The Earth, the Sky, and All in Between. The fucking classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit is probably their weakest album from like that newer kind of, I don't know, radio-friendly metalcore era. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that. It just didn't have the same punch to it or the same substance to it that those other three albums already mentioned did. But I would say that
Maybe.
Sempiternal was the reason that other albums
Let me
located
get
in
my
England
tablets.
ended up writing such influential records. While She Sleeps being another one, writing You Are We and So What and Sleep Society. Like, I think if it wasn't for Sempiternal, a lot of those other records would not exist at all, including what I plan to write.
It was an influential record for sure.
It was.
For sure. Not to me personally, but yeah, 100%. And a lot of people became not as afraid to dabble.
For sure.
But no one's dabbled that much. No one has done that.
Yeah.
And I still have said from day one that Bring Me the Horizon soon, or at one point, will bring out a fucking filthy album that is back to how it was. Because if they don't, they're fucking idiots and they shouldn't be fucking making music. In my opinion, if they don't at some point come back with a brutal album, whether that be almost what I'm doing, which is fading out my harsh vocals, but bringing in guest vocalists that are better at harsh vocals than me. Like, did you hear Hunting Humans?
Not yet, no.
There's, I do no harsh vocals on that at all. And I got a guest vocalist that's a million miles more brutal than any of my vocals would be, because mine are just deathcore highs, done awfully. And at some point, I'd need to come back and do some heaviness. Otherwise, you've just done that. I know that commercially it's gone that, but for me, the music has done that regardless. I think they do need to come full circle, like what Whitechapel did.
Oh, yeah. No,
they went all weird, didn't they? Not weird, but like he went through some stuff and that reflected in the music. But then he was just like, okay, smart.
No, absolutely.
That's my opinion.
Whitechapel and specifically The Valley and Kin are probably some of my favorite metal records of all time. I don't care what anyone has to say about, you know, the Creed-esque dad rock and all that other shit. Those are two of my favorite albums of all time. Like if I had to quote you at least 10 of my favorite albums of all time, first one that I ever bought physical for would be Wage War's Deadweight. I'm a big fan of Wage War, always have been. While She Sleeps is So What, because it was so goddamn experimental and fun. And really, it's a shame that that all came from, quote, a desperate last attempt before they would introduce the idea of the Sleep Society and its Patreon. And then, like, whatever the fuck Self-Hell was, I hated Self-Hell for the most part. It just didn't make sense to me. But that's just me. So then you got Wage War's Deadweight, While She Sleeps is So What. You got Breathe Carolina's Savages. I really like that record. It was a good combination of like LSD infused house electronic music with kind of rock and metal, but not too much. There is Bring Me the Horizon, Sempiternal. There is Architects and I think Holy Hell. I'll have to say Holy Hell is my favorite Architects record. It just had so much substance to it. It was different. They were talking about one of their members dying of cancer, and then Bring Me the Horizon would play their show at Royal Albert Music Hall, most likely in memoriam of said guy, as well as other victims of cancer. Like that was everything. That was game changing. But then after that, Whitechapel's The Valley and Kin, that's one of them, because it just really that's what Tennessee sounds like. You listen to that album and that's what my home sounds like, and that makes it so much more personal. And then the new album was cool, but it didn't do it for me. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, we're hearing Phil's heavies again, but in my opinion, Hymns and Dissonance is the same reason that Suicide Silence's Become the Hunter came out. And it's because they were so beaten black and blue by their fan base into going back to heavy that they're like, yeah, we might as well, with like fucking swollen eyes from the negative critique of the prior thing that they were truly experimenting with. So they returned to their heavier shit. And I'm like, yeah, there's like a little bit of the Valley and Kin in there. I can kind of hear Tennessee in it. Yes, they did film the music videos in Tennessee local caves and shit. That was cool. A dude got set on fire and then immediately got extinguished for safety reasons. But it just didn't do it for me the same way that the Valley and Kin did. So one can only hope that they might end up returning to that in the future. And hopefully it comes to them organically. But otherwise, yeah, I understand why people enjoyed the record. It's just, it wasn't my thing. So, I guess, right, we were talking about Bring Me the Horizon, and the reason I mentioned them is because Worm Infested to me seems to kind of be the Bring Me the Horizon of the slam world. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of variety. There's going to be a lot of variety to keep things fresh. Not only that, but almost like pretending in discography that the band is on the Bring Me the Horizon level. You got these shorter offerings. You got these smaller releases. That way people can kind of get different things along the way. And then maybe over time, if there's enough demand for it, then there will be a full length that mixes a whole bunch of that stuff from before into one thing for a bigger concept that you feel deserves to be on a 10 to 12 to even 14 track record, despite the bigger investment that would require. Or, do exactly the same as you've been doing, but do like the zoom-in album cover approach like Distant did, where they paid someone to make this big piece, but like each of the EP covers are a small piece of that bigger album cover. I know I plan to do that with my band. And I think it's
Yeah, Muramasa have just done that. I've noticed now that you've said that. I think that's really cool. I would never do that, but because that's one overarching theme, and the releases to me have to be separate. But I do think that's a fantastic idea. If I was in a different project, I would hands down do it.
Right. Fair enough. And yeah, hopefully then, maybe over time, Worm Infested like diverts into that. But you just heard it straight from the Mr. Worm mouthicles or whatever. That probably won't be happening anytime soon, and that's okay because it's not my band. After that, I think is there anything to go under the skin of lyrically for the Worm City EP? Is there like any stories to tell, or is it just a slam EP?
So obviously the intro track has no lyrics. So what the intro track, Path of Worms, is just basically an ambient hip hop instrumental. It does have like a low gutturals in there, but they're edited in a way that they sound like a whisper. It's like it's something in a cave, but it is just a mid-tier guttural that Dear God edited really well. So no inspiration on that one except just to add ambience and just going Eye of the Swarm doesn't have lyrics. I was just pissing around with variations on Pig's Quills, and basically Eye of the Swarm and Death by Bee Stings were written by made with the guy that did the first release, and they were both half done, like 45-second songs when we parted ways. And he was obviously, when we said like the material's fine, I basically turned the 45 seconds into like 2-minute tracks, which left me with a really fucking repetitive instrumental. So there had to be like mad variety in the vocals, and that ended up just being loads of different, like just working on it and coming back to it over time, just adding in the section, adding in, which ended up with no lyrics, no theme per se, just insect type screeches and vocals.
Right.
And then Crime Slug adds lyrics on his part, obviously. Death by Bee Stings, the only lyrics in that is the bit where it shouts death by bee sting, just maybe like 3 times. Exoskeleton, there's no real inspiration behind that. Maybe Frog Mallet a little bit. Like it sounds like something Frog Mallet would have as like a call out, like some of the parts, but it doesn't sound like anything Frog Mallet would make. But maybe there's influence there. The whole theme of that is being something that's in from like the swamp or some bullshit like that, some area where insects be, and fucking up anything that comes into your territory, even though that's not specifically said in it. The track is just about like battering the shit out of someone and just leaving them in the swamp, which is very fucking things. When I talk about my lyrics, I fucking forget them. I'm trying to think of the chorus, but like there's just like silly lyrics that I guess the song sounds alright, but dissected, the lyrics are hilarious. Like Catsaredophobia has like my favorite lyrics, which is I am the cockroach, a fortress of steel. I have a soft side that I will not reveal. Is the least heavy lyrics ever, and it's just so funny. And all the I try and write like a hook, like a chorus that's catchy, and it's always with the stupidest. It could have been written by a kid with a dark imagination.
Right.
Absolutely love that. I don't know. I just when I have an instrumental, I listen to the track, and then I'll hear like maybe not lyrics, but like a groove, how I want the vocals to be like, da, 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 da. And then is there going to be vocals, or is it just going to be as heavy as I can do?
Right.
And then I'll probably be watching something like Bug's Life or Starship Troopers or some shit, and someone will get killed in a specific way, and I'll be like, I'm going to make a bar about that. I'll come back to that. I'll save that short clip to my like work playlist or something.
Right.
Have that in my ear, and a chorus will come.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, I mean, it's completely okay too if there's not really a consistent theme. You said you're not really a fan of doing that type of stuff when it comes to Worm Infested releases. So.
No, and the songs aren't even about worms for the most part. I mean, there's a song about bees, there's a song about cockroaches, and a swarm is not the word you use to describe worms. So by definition, no tracks about worms. Right in the name. There's no specific theme. I'm trying to make, I guess, if perhaps a genre it. Insect slamcore. The theme doesn't necessarily correlate in the music, but it sort of does. You add core at the end because then you can do whatever you want to fit into it. Because I don't care about the genre, which is why on the Instagram it just says wiggly insect brutality, which someone said to me when I first started. I loved that. I was like, I'm changing. There can't be any expectations because there's no genre.
Yeah, it's fair. It's just heavy music. It's just heavy fucking music. Heavy, silly music. And therefore correlating with other cross-cast friendly artists, such as Stillbirth and Party Cannon. Like, we just like, when it comes to hosting new, really, really heavy beatdown, slamming brutal death metal bands, shout out to Bardagon. Love the hat. I need to get me one, but my head's too fat, so I don't know if I would purchase one and that it like barely fit my head. I haven't gotten to that crossroad yet. But ultimately, you know.
Are you okay if I just nip to the loo, if that's okay? It's been hours since I went.
Yes.
If that's all right.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Just give me 2 minutes. Thank you. I'll be back.
No worries. Let's go ahead and continue it then. Yeah, I mean...
Do you recognize this by any chance? Do you know what this is from? Just from the bottom half.
If I had to guess, that looks like a picture from The Legend of Boggy Creek, which is a Sasquatch 80s film I haven't seen, but I don't think it's that.
Oh, okay. I was just curious because I reckon you're somewhat of a gamer, so I wasn't sure. But it's kind of hard to tell in this.
Only a little bit. So you're talking about the one above the rat picture, right?
Yes, it's Resident Evil 4.
Oh, yeah, no, I've never played a Resident Evil game in my life. I am a gamer, but...
That could be a somewhat of a hidden unnoticeable spoiler for something Worm Infested related next year.
I see. But yeah, simply said, we love to host really fun and goofy slam bands because once upon a time I was too fucking uptight for my own good, and I'm like, I don't like slam. I can't hear what they're saying. Over time, I'm like, oh wait, it's an accent. That's kind of how it works. Like half the time, we've hosted bands that utilize vocals as another instrument, another fill-in for the music that they write, and that's completely okay. But now that I've gotten past my uptightness and loosened my asshole a little bit, now we're able to get a lot more fun and awesome bands on the show, including this one. So we are now at the tail end, I would say, of our first date session with Worm Infested, and until further notice, not originally, but now, and has been for a little bit, one man wiggling worm brutality project, Worm Infested, based out of Brighton, technically. But ultimately, I loved having this conversation with you, man. I love improvising these sessions and attempting just to get more stuff out to you guys. It's always awesome to have these conversations. Holy fuck. All right, hold on, please.
No, I just went. It's your turn now. Crack on.
Man, I just got 20 rings at once. For an alarm that I tried to set for this morning. Oh my god. What the fuck? Yep, I hear ya. This thing's about to fucking explode on me, isn't it? Jesus, dude. Alright. Yep, I hear ya. I promise. Let's go ahead and turn off that alarm, though, yeah? Holy shit. Oh... Yep, all the notifications from all of today. Alright, cool. We're turning off that alarm now for 8:15 a.m. this morning. All the notifications are rolling in. Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus Christ. Anyways, we're at the tail end of the Anatomy Crosscast here after getting upwards of like 100 alarm notifications at once that just sounded like a whole bunch of skeletons dancing around in some weird occultic circle. So I got a couple questions then for you to conclude the session, but these shouldn't take too long. 1. What did you think about your first date crosscast session? Did you enjoy the conversation we had today? Did you have any negative critique to offer? Any transparent critique to offer?
No critique. Today has been an absolute fucking nightmare for so many reasons. So, ending on a positive note before bed.
Love to hear it.
I can have worse days, ultimately.
Yeah, right. All right, cool. Well, if you have no negative critique to offer, then what bands would you want to see on the Anatomy Crosscast? Maybe I'll make this a little bit more difficult for you. Acts that are closer to you, local to England, that we have yet to host on the show.
Closer to me?
Yes.
Hacked Up.
Okay.
Slam from the north. Dark Souls, mythology-esque. None of this jump on the bandwagon, Elden Ring bullshit. I platinum that, by the way. I platinum the whole series. Fuck that franchise. Nerdy, two-man, so heavy. I collab with them on the Hunting Human strike because they're just so good. They hit the game with sweet spots. And they're just typical northern lads, except one of them looks super old. The other just looks like typical northern lad. The personalities are great. I think they'd be quite good for the show, if you can understand the accent.
I can. Most of the time I can. Hopefully. We'll see, though. Okay, so we got hacked.
I'm racking my brain for more. Because when you said this, who would you think want to be on here? I thought of like 10. I was going to rapid fire off for that. America.
Oh, in America. Well,
so,
if you don't have any other.
Yeah, I was like, no, I do. It's just a bit more on the spot because I had answers prepared, and I was like, oh shit, they're all from one country. I don't necessarily think about that because I don't see country. I just talk. Unless it's a live chat, it's just a chat. I don't get
right.
accent. Oh man, there's so many. I don't know if they're still active, but there's I don't know if you're into like noise And I mentioned them earlier, but there's a band not far from here, maybe like an hour and a half in Widnes. I'm not too sure where the fuck that is. It's called Mycosis. As far as I'm aware, I think it's still currently a one-man project, and the dude's 14. And I'm not into noise or mince or any of that really. But it's actually quite good, and he's super young. So I don't know how that would work, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention him because he makes music that I can't fucking stand, and I can enjoy it.
There you go. All right. Well, we got then Mycosis and Hacked Up. What about those rapid fire U.S. local bands that you wanted to see us host?
Oh, so I would have gone with Crime Slug, and then Blood Crusher, and it's basically every band I've worked with, but the main one would be Frog Mallet. If I saw Frog Mallet on there, that'd be a dream for me. If you could get Bolt Cutter on there, shit. If you could get Peeling Flesh, Vampire Cunt.
That would be awesome.
I mean, I might have fucked up, and I think maybe like Vampire Cunt might be Canadian or something, but
I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're Canadian.
whoops. I mean, any. I'm not sure I want to use the word on the Discord. Any band that has any association with like 5XL or anything that comes with that would be great promo. Like Crime Slug is a great guy and is definitely blowing up right now. And puts out albums like every month, but can be quite controversial because of like the shit he says and like a certain word that he uses. But like he wouldn't do that on a live, and it would be very entertaining. And he's very trending right now.
Okay. So yeah, we got
Blood Crusher, the guy that masters our stuff. I have to shout him out. His stuff is disgusting. He's worked with fucking Cranium, Esophagus, and he's currently working with Azarat Nakamura. So he's making like some heavy shit from like Oregon, which is like one of like the states that like people forget exists, at least over here.
For sure. Yeah. No, those are all good recommendations, man. And I look forward to getting all of them on, including, they're on your beanie right now, Crepitation. We'll be getting them on here pretty soon, as Joe is the member of Gorpulent, a, quote, true fucking slam international project. International between the UK and the US, but still, like, you have to cross an ocean to recognize all the members in the band, so it's still international. We're going to be getting a session out by them soon, but Crepitation will be next, and he's in another project like called Kerpoclasis or something like that. He wants to get them on too, so that'll be fucking awesome. All good recommendations, and we look forward to potentially getting all of those bands on as we continue our quest for world domination through cobweb networking. So after all of that,
all right, one more shameless self promo. My other band.
What's your other band?
Cerebral Autophagy.
Okay.
I play bass for them.
Okay, sick, awesome.
Because they're English and they're local to me.
There you go. That works. And we hope to get every single one of those artists on the show and just continue that train, continue that momentum, have people recommend and commit to that continued cobweb. Like, there must be several dozen widows associated with the cobweb at this point, but still, it's a very, very messy cobweb, and we'd love to make it even more messy. 2 questions, and these are actually brand new ones that will be added to the questionnaire, but I thought this would be a great way for all of our sessions from this point on to interconnect a little bit more, okay? So, 1, we have a playlist over on Spotify called TAC's Greatest Hits. And the intention from the beginning of having that playlist is to just have at least one track by every artist that we host. Even if the person that we host has multiple projects, it's like, well, we're most likely hosting for one project, unless it's like a big personality who has 4 different bands that they tour with because they're a phenomenal vocalist, you know what I mean? So, for Worm Infested, what is one song that you would want to see amongst the hundreds of other tracks on the TAC's Greatest Hits playlist? What song would you want to put on there?
Of any genre?
Well, from Worm Infested.
Oh shit! I was gonna go with Mona Lisa by Nat King Cole. Oh, okay. uh, I don't know. The promo side of me wants to pick the newest song because promo.
Maybe what's a
I have the
good
Swarm.
first song to introduce people to Worm Infested through
Oh, Exoskeleton then.
Exoskeleton. All right, we'll go ahead and add that to
Well,
the
probably
playlist.
because it I guess it like that's closest to what I'm gonna make next,
Right. Okay.
as opposed to what's my favorite that I've ever done.
Cool. Alrighty. And then I think this is going to be an interesting one, and this is coming from the guy who's done a little over 100 of these. Um, so I wanted you to either do A or B. A would be quote your description, your rating, your summary of the Anatomy Crosscast that we will then include as the introduction for the next session. Or just provide a message to the next band who will be popping on the show. Doesn't matter who they are, but maybe give them an introduction. Be like, hey, welcome to the show. We just did a session, that type of thing. And give them a little heads up if you can, like as to what you thought and what you think the next. I don't even know how. Like it's very experimental the way I'm trying to do it, but it's like a message for
Yeah,
the
no,
next
I'm not
band.
gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused.
That's fair. That's fair. So either A, give a summary rating of the show and be like, this show was in like, fuck. Like I said, it's experimental. This is the first time I've done this. Either give.
You want me to blow? You want me to blow smoke up your ass? I can. No, I will anyway.
Okay.
I'll go with B
Okay. All right. So yeah.
because that sounds interesting. Leaving the video.
Right. Right. So then B would be like basically your message to the next band. Doesn't matter who it is, because really I have no idea who the next band will be after this. But what would be your message to them in starting the episode?
What would be my message to them? I would say it's not as scary as it seems after the first hour. Hopefully you don't have a sizable time difference like mine. But overall, it's a very enjoyable experience.
Awesome.
Hit me up for guest vocals.
Shameless self-promo. The very, very end. I love it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between over here in Coolidge, Arizona, out in the desert rat boondocks, out in the desert. It is currently 6:35 p.m. I do believe we went for at least like closer to 3 hours. Like Christ. And this is just with one person, but it was a productive conversation. It was a fun conversation. Had a little scare in the middle there regarding real life shit, but it's okay. Yeah, that will be the end of the Crosscast for now. Ethan, thank you for your time. We hope to have you on again. And yeah, best of luck with everything Worm Infested until we get you back on, sir.
Yeah, man. Just let me know. Obviously, phase it around my work week, but besides that, I'm super happy to come back for sure, 100%.
Fuck yeah.
And even if not, just make sure to stay in contact.
Oh yeah,
we can have chats like this, if it's on Discord or not, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, this has been the Anatomy Crosscast. I am your one and only. Well, not one and only. We got two other people too. We got Tony and Finn, but we are your true counterculture hosts, making music history session by session by just talking to more and more bands around the world. We'll see you next time.